Peace and love. Salute. Salute, everyone. Salute to the good people. As I'm just looking at my stuff, as I always do. As I always do, good people. All right, so I'm looking good on my end. Hopefully, you guys could hear me. Salute. Salute to anyone in the building. Let me check to see if we got some people. Peace to everyone. Peace to everyone. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes. It's looking like we got some people in the building making their way in. Salute. Peace and blessings to everybody. Hope you're doing well. You guys, I had absolutely no idea. If first of all, uh, let's get some nines going. If you guys could hear me, okay. Hopefully, I'm audible to you guys. I'm looking good on my end. Yes, I see some family making their way in. Salute. Um, I can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you guys could hear me. Throw some nines in the chat if you guys could hear me. I always want to know if I'm coming through okay before we begin. Yes. Okay. So before I get to saluting the good family, I had no idea at all um, if what's going on. I do know that football season is either lurking around the corner or it has already begun because I have no, inclination whatsoever towards football. I know nothing about that sport whatsoever, right? Except that there's some good looking men running on the field, right? um, I don't know if it's a football game going on. I have no idea if I'm intruding upon or interrupting your guys' football Sunday. Is it football season, you guys? I hear football talks. I'm scrolling up my timeline. I'm seeing that. I think it's either starting or it's begun. Child, I have no idea. Hopefully, I'm not in y'all's way to your football, whatever. I was though he gonna like try to do it earlier, but I couldn't. So I stayed at my regular time today. Hopefully, I'm not impeding upon anything. But with that being said, I don't intend to stay too long today. Um, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, right? But salute to everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful week. I'll just start off there. Always wishing the beautiful family well. Yeah, I had a good week myself. Got some much needed rest in. I'm feeling good. So, yeah, and always happy to be back talking to the good family. Let me see who's in the building, right? Before we begin, let me salute the good people who came to join in. Salute to the King Patrice, X30 in the building. See, I got it right today, Patrice. I didn't confuse you for my twin Daryl. That always happens. I see that orange and I'm just like, oh, that's twin. You know what I mean? It's Patrice, okay? And I'm made sure to make the effort to make the distinction between the two. Salute to the King, Patrice, 10 toes in the building as usual. Wonderful to see you, King. Thank you so much for joining. Definitely appreciate you in the building today. I hope all is well with you. And here he is, my twin, Daryl Anderson, in the building. Salute to my twin. He says, salute to the beautiful queen, aka my twin, Sugar Free, and salute to the rest of the kings and the queens in the chat. Big love and infinite blessings to my twin, Daryl. Lovely to see you as always. Facts. You already know, Daryl. You already know, Daryl. Get them nines all the way up. You feel me? Oh my goodness, my beautiful sister Cammie is in the building. Hey, my Cammie love. Salute to my beautiful sis in the building, 10 toes. Always wonderful to see the queen on deck. Okay, that's sister energy that I love so much. Wonderful to see you. We also have King Grayson in the building. He says, hey, queen. Hey, King, what's up with you? Hope all is well. My goodness, he gave me some hearts too. Sending them right back at you. Definitely sending them back, right back at you. Yes, King Grayson, like and subscribe. Definitely hit the like button on your way in, good family. Peace to the King, Stephen X. I always have to say his name kind of, emphasized like that because, that's just the energy that Stephen X brings. You know what I'm saying? We got to put all the respect on the King's name. Okay, he says peace and love. Peace, love, blessings, and salute, Queen. Thank you so much, King. Always wonderful to see you. I hope all is well with you. Infinite blessings as always to you, King. Oh my goodness, we got the big step in early in the super chat today. Super chat from Glenn Mickens, heavy in the super chat. Thank you very much for the support of the channel. Okay, your constant support of the channel. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you for swinging by. Okay, I'm all good, twin. Thank you. Thank you. Because I'm still, yeah, I mean, I'm still getting the hang of this. I'm not a master yet. I'm very much a newbie. So I'm like getting used to this stuff like by the day. But it's, practice makes perfect, right, twin? So yeah, hopefully I'm getting better at it. I'm glad, that we're on the roll. Oh my goodness, we got the King David in the building. Salute to the King David. Okay, salute to the King David. He says, Sugar-Free Mars, blessings, Queen. Thank you so much, King, for showing up today. I definitely appreciate your presence. It's always wonderful to see you, right? And that wonderful high energy that you have. Lovely to see you, King. I hope all is well with you. Yes, twin. Yes. Eventually you're gonna have to change your damn, because I confuse it all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to you being the only orange, you know what I mean, that I engage with. Since Patrice is here, he's the exact same color as you. So I gotta like be extra 10 toes to distinguish between you two. Because I don't know how many lives did I do, Patrice? And I'm like, yeah, that's twin. I'm like reading his damn comment, and I'm thinking it's Daryl, and it's Patrice. We got to make some distinction, but I'm going to be better at it now. So even if you don't, King, I'm going to be 10 toes with it. Don't worry about it. Oh my goodness. Oh my, yes. My big brother, the Druth. The Druth is in the building. Oh my goodness. You made me smile, King. Thank you so much, Drew, for stopping by. Wonderful to see my big bro, as always. Definitely honored to have the King, Druth, in the building. Yes, the King, the great Mike, is in the building. He says, salute, Queen. Big salute and infinite blessings to you, great Mike. It's always wonderful. Great Mike is one of my original gunners. You hear me? Like, I got to salute him all the time with all the respect, all the energy, just like I do Daryl, just like I do Stephen X. These are like my day ones. So I got to put extra loving on the sauce for them. Yeah, I'm saying salute to the great Mike. I definitely appreciate you. Let's see now. So, like I said, I didn't intend to really like make it a long live, because I don't know what's going on in the football world, and I know that a lot of my family here are football, goers. So hopefully I'm not impeding upon your time, or hopefully I can, kind of wrap it up, before, if there is a game on later on, you guys can go ahead and go indulge in that. But I did want to come by and quickly speak about something that I thought was worthy of raising, as far as it being a question in my mind. I guess I'll start here, and maybe you guys will fill me on this, especially if you guys have been peeping the same. Hold on one second. Just had to turn on a little stuff. Oh, what did you say, great Mike? He says, my commanders handled their business already. Oh, okay, good. Okay, there we go. Well, I'm glad. Great Mike said, listen, we here 10 toes. My game done finished. It started, it unended. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully there are no other, things in the works that other people have going on as far as football. But that's good news. Thank you, King. Yeah, so some things that I've been gauging about since we last spoke, you guys. I thought this was definitely worthy of bringing to the table, just to see if I'm the only one looking at things. I tend to be very, you guys know me, like my mind is very analytical, and I like to look at things. I like to look at the sub-layer of things. I don't just look at things at the surface. I don't just take things at face value. I tend to always peel back the layers and try to look in between what is being displayed, what is being said even, right? And so it's no different in my pursuit or in my involvement in boxing, right? As I do that with everything, so that, I like to pull questions to the surface, or really sometimes it's not even conscious. I'm just, just these things pop in my mind as I come across, the news of the day, as I circle social media, as I engage with the sport that I love, just as a regular, person, right? But, the questions do arise, even though I am engaging, even though I am enjoying myself, even though I am, simply just reading or watching a video of somebody that I like or whatever have you. Questions pop up in my mind naturally, because I'm conscious as I am enjoying myself. But I say all that to say this. There seems to be, at least from what I've been engaging with, there seems to be, you know, so much in boxing, you guys, that I find to be trivial and let's say paltry. I find a lot of things to be paltry, petty, you know, trivial. Let's say, right? And I know that y'all feel me on this because we actually talk about this quite often, right? Some things are just nonsensical or better left, undone in the sport. And I'm just finding, more and more little areas where these types of things are popping up in boxing. And it seems to me that by way of all of these little trivial things that are making an entrance, that seems to be denoting the fact that there is a new direction that is stirring within the inner seams of the sport, right? Um, where I think we touched on this at some point in the past, right? Where it seems to me that a need for things that I value, right? Like severity, weight, temerity, right? Or just the desire to claim one's place in the sport. All of those virtues and all of those principles that we love about the sport, like temerity and fervor and tenacity and stuff like that. The desire to claim one's place in the sport, things like that, right? It seems like these types of things are being more and more encumbered, by and supplanted with baseless ass, fruitless ass exploits that only seem to care about catering to the spectacle of entertainment. Do you understand what I'm saying? I feel like there's a lot of baselessness trying to supplant the actual levels of value that we hold for the sport. This is being replaced so that, instead of temerity and desire and valiance and all of these types of things, we are instead getting things that are fruitless for the sport, things that don't necessarily benefit the prosperity and longevity of the sport, things that don't necessarily have substance. And all of that is being had simply for the sake of quote unquote entertainment. Do you guys feel me on this? You guys feel me on this? It's something that I've just been engaging with more and more. It's something I'm always engaging. And of course, we have divulged many different layers of this particular aspect of it. But it seems as we are coming into, particularly the coming months, we see more and more, lines being blurred. And the excuse of it is being used under the guise of entertainment. I think we need to have some distinction made, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I just want to set the table here, right? So that there is a need to put in place at the forefront the spectacle of entertainment. So it's not simply just being entertained. Entertainment itself is a spectacle. That is for sure, right? That's a fact. A spectacle just means something that we watch, the optics of something, right? But I also use the spectacle as a singular way of thinking, as far as like one dimensionality. Oh, you're just simply being entertained, so shut up and watch it. Or like your boy Purple Pain Davis said, shut up and be a fan, right? So that this whole idea is being played with. Oh, it's your entertainment. You just sit back and you watch it because it's entertainment. And somehow, because it's entertainment, we ought to take a passive role as supporters and consumers of the sport. I'm not passive about nothing. There is nothing I'm passive about. I don't do anything passively. I don't care what it is I'm doing. I don't drink coffee passively. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't watch sports passively. I'm very, very active in the things that I do. Okay? I'm very fiery about the things that I do. I like to do things with purpose. You know what I'm saying? I light my incense. You know what I'm saying? Let's say I water my plant. I do everything with purpose. You know what I mean? Now, that's to say that, I don't know about all of you guys, but, I'm sure that a lot of my family up in here can agree to this. But I look for soul in every motherfucking thing I do, beautiful people. Like, to just be frank about it, I look for soul in everything that I do. Everything. I do not indulge in the hollow, in the empty, in the meaningless, or in the insincere. That's not the sphere that I operate from as a person. I'm a very impassioned woman, if you guys have not been able to tell thus far. Okay. I don't like, that's why I always say I don't like anything cold. Everything has to be hot for me, everything. And hot meaning having heart, having purpose, having direction, having creative power, having a place of expression. I like things on fire. I just do. You know what I mean? I don't like things tepid, in other words. I don't like things halfway. My tendency, it's just my nature, I guess. My tendency is to lean towards the passionate. I have a very, vehement, passionate expression or need to involve myself in things that I take passion with. In other words, y'all feel me? Like, I gravitate towards the warmth of things. I like the resonance of creativity and output and stuff like that. You feel me? Like, that's just what I do. That's what I like. I have always been that way. I don't remember myself not being that way, even as a baby. You know what I mean? Even as a little girl, I just like to do things wholly. Um, I don't like the things that are mundane, or, I don't like things, in other words, let's say I don't like things done, for the sake of them being, oh, this is just for the sake of filling time or filling space. I don't get down with shit like that. I don't like things like that. You know what I mean? So that if something is being done or attempted, I'm like, okay, let's go for it. Let's do it. Let's give to that thing, whatever that thing is. I don't want nothing cold. You know what I'm saying? So that soulful expression is where I live in all things. I don't care what it is that I'm talking about. I am soulfully involved in boxing. I like soulful boxers. The fighters that I like, for example, are soulful men and women. You can't get more soulful than Clarissa Shields. She is a woman that is, she's just a light all on her own. You know what I mean? She may be too much for some people, but nobody can deny that this woman is, full of heat and full of passion and full of expression about herself and the things that she does. Even the people who have a more reticent personality, like Devin Haney. Devin Haney may be reticent. He may be a soft-spoken young king, but he is 1000% fiery and passionate about the things that he does. That's why he is, at such a young age, he has so much acclaim to his name, because he stands 10 toes in the things that he does. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. You can run, Wilder is another favorite fighter of mine. Very expressive, soulful brother. So that I tend to gravitate, in other words, towards people who have that same demeanor as I do. You know what I'm saying? So that I like that. Now, I say all that to say that right now, there is a battle going on, you guys, in the sport that we love. Facts or no? I know I'm not the only one peeping, this battle that's going on, this dynamic of opposing energies that are happening right now in boxing. And I know that most of you guys, are able to feel that and intuit the same type of energy that I have been picking up. I know that many of you have, intuited that as well. And as I said last week when we last spoke, really what I want to do, beautiful family, what I want to do, I just want to turn up and watch some amazing fights. That's what I want to do. I just want to kick back, turn on amazing fights, have the fights happening consistently, and enjoy myself. I want to stand up on my couch, jump up and down on my damn couch, screaming at the TV, cheering my favorite fighter on, cursing the next fighter out, you know what I'm saying? And clapping for both warriors when they finish. That's just what I want to do. I want to engage with the sport of boxing because I love boxing, right? And I really wish it were that simple, but the reality of, beautiful people, is that we have not been getting the fights that we want as consistently as we have wanted them for the past several years, right? A lot of us are on the fringes begging for fights to happen that'll potentially never get made, right? So that we have had a very, our engagement with boxing has been kind of topsy-turvy. It's been kind of up and down, right? Not so consistent as much as we would like it to have been over the past, let's say, 3 years. And certainly much of that is has been in place this year, except that we have a few sprinkles here and there to satiate us as we enter into the next phase. But, you know, I want to engage, with the sport that shows a level of warriorship that excites me, that draws me in. That's what I love about boxing, right? And to that, I will say, as I always try to posit, I'm very pleased by the idea that there do exist men and women in the sport currently who exemplify that heart that I respect. As I said, we named a few of them earlier, and I'm sure we can, be here for days naming the people that we have liked and admired in boxing of current and of past. But that's what I want to see. I want to see that heart and all of that soul. I use that word soul. That's a very beautiful word to me, soul, because it denotes life. It denotes expression. It denotes, a central and centerpiece to all things, right? That's what I want to see permeate and reverberate within the sport of boxing. And that's something that has, really called me into the sport of boxing, was a display of that soul. Because prior, the soul seemed to have left boxing for a long time. And I guess it goes through its periods of ebbs and flows and of high tides and low tides, just like anything in life, right? But that, what called me back into boxing was the soul of Devin Haney, was the pizzazz of Tank Davis, was the warriorship of Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. For me personally, it was, the mystery and the shock that we call Errol Spence Jr. These are some of the men that called me back into boxing after a long deficit that boxing seemed to have been in for a period of time. It was the soul of these beautiful warriors that called me in, right? So that I love it. I love it. And I want to see it grow, and I want to be called further in. I want to go in deeper. You know what I'm saying? I want to be introduced to new layers of the fighters, to new fighters, perhaps. I like the engagement of that. But, unfortunately, however, at this particular time in boxing, you guys, as things progress and as we enter into, I guess, an era of fads, if you want to call it, an era of the social media age and, of the temporary, I would say, there are little carrots being dangled in front of the faces of, supporters on the level that we are on, or let's say little carrots being dangled in front of that rationale, right? So sort of a distraction away from the rationale of that mindset. Little means to distract us away from that particular type of rationale. Little things that glitter, that catch our eyes and move our attention and divert our attention away from things like legacy and soul and all of that we love, and heart. And our eyes are now averting towards money, towards the spectacle, right? And it's not necessarily because it is soulful that is catching our eye, these distractions, but it's simply because they are distracting, that our attention is now going off away from our initial claim and our initial love and respect for boxing, right? It's not that we're completely jettisoning boxing as a whole. We still love boxing, but that there are distractions in place that are, calling our eye over in another direction. And I'm wondering if that is beneficial. On what level is it, or isn't it, is what I'm asking, right? Because I like to bring it to the table so that we can discuss these types of things. And these distractions maybe are perhaps by way of, let's say, promises of exposure. Oh, we're going to make the sport so much better. We're going to make the sport so much more, universal. You know how people love to throw that around. Oh, we're going to, broaden our audience, right? We've heard that with different fighters. Oh, let's say the nonsense that happened, for example, between Shakur Stevenson calling out Conor Benn instead of fighting somebody like Devin Haney. He offered in motion initially to fight Conor Benn at 54 with no problem. Meanwhile, he was on Devin Haney's goddamn hit list, and he ducked that man and didn't say a word about it, right? But that his excuse at the time, or the excuse of his fans, was to say, oh, well, he's going to widen his audience if he fights a UK fighter. Let's say he goes to the UK, he's going to diversify his audience all of a sudden. So there's a promise of that exposure always on the table. That was just one example of how universality or exposure is used as an excuse or as a cloak, right? But it's used nonetheless. So you got the promises of exposure as a means of distraction, or the most significant distraction I would posit is the surplus amounts of money that stand to be gained, supposedly, right? And the surplus amounts of money go far beyond the norms of what is normally given in the sport, perhaps. So now people and fighters are mystified by the larger amounts of money that are being presented, right? So we have these things at work, which is all good and well, right? Except, in my view, I don't know how any of you feel about that. Fine to make money. No problem with that at all. Except for when what is being leveraged is supplanting or effacing the integrity or rectitude of the sport. That's when I have a problem with it. It's not necessarily the making of money. I want everybody to make money. I want you and I to make money. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to be wealthy. There is no problem with that, especially the fighters, who have their life on the line and that we support. I want them to go ahead and go get their cake. You know what I'm saying? But I have a problem with it when what is being leveraged stands to efface the rectitude of boxing, the integrity of boxing, the probity of boxing. That's when I have a problem, because I do not think that should be ever bypassed in order to make a dime. Integrity should never be lost in order to make money. The integrity of a fighter, the integrity of a sport, or the expression or whatever it is that may be at hand. I don't feel like you should ever give up the rectitude of anything in order to have an extra dollar in your bank account. That's the only time I have an issue with it. And that's really what seems to be on the line. And it really is, part of the foundations of entertainment as a whole, and what people stand to gain or lose as a result of the quote unquote entertainment factor. And that is why I ask, where is the line drawn for legacy and entertainment? That's the question that I posit today, and that I have been, working with in my mind over the past week since we last spoke. Okay. And also, what is that wager that we are seeing? What are we making our way into based off of that particular type of wager? What are we willing to sacrifice? What is on the table to be gained? Is what may be gained worth it? What is its value to us as boxing supporters? Okay. Very interesting question. And you know what? I really do hate to sound like, when I bring these types of discussions to the table, I hate to do that on the basis of possibly coming off as maybe old-fashioned, right? But I'll run the risk of that, because, like I said, probity and integrity will always exceed and bypass the concept of a fad or a trend. You cannot ever bypass integrity. Integrity does not adhere to an era or a trend or a theme of the day or something like that. You either fucking have integrity or you goddamn don't. Doesn't matter what era you are in. Integrity is integrity, just like air. So I hate when people try to say, "Oh, well, you're looking too deeply into things, goddess. Goddess, why are you why do you have a tendency to do that? You want to look at the layers, you're making it too deep. We are just here for boxing, right?" I'm sure many of you have heard the same. Whenever people hear you guys using your discernment and your cognizance about something. But, everything is deep. Everything is to be, approached with a level of inquisition. There is nothing that I don't approach with some level of inquisition, because I'm always in a state of reconnaissance. Doesn't matter what it is. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm passionate about it. It's going to get that extra level of reconnaissance and interrogation for me, because that's what I do. You know what I mean? Probity and integrity will always outweigh the concept of an error. Okay? Nothing supersedes uprightness, in other words. All right? It either exists or it doesn't. You either have uprightness and integrity or you don't. You either have the rectitude or you do not. Doesn't matter what the fuck era you are in. Doesn't matter what genre you are, putting into context. Doesn't matter what aspect of life you are dealing with. Uprightness will always be uprightness. All right? It's just like truth, just like air, just like water. Truth and valor doesn't give a goddamn about what fashion is hip right now. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter what team, won the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter what the fuck. Doesn't matter. Valor is always going to be valor. Truth is always going to be truth. Okay? Because it is a pillar. It's a pillar. And rectitude and integrity is a pillar. That's what it is. It doesn't matter what it's applied to. It is a fundamental principle, just like earth, just like water, and so on. So that the fact that I see more and more, let's say, varying attempts being made to circumvent this fundamental aspect in boxing, right? It's exceedingly curious to me, because now we are seeing people trying to remove, it seems, or as an attempt being made to remove this fundamental pillar, which I will call integrity or valor or legacy, right? I play with these words interchangeably. This is now being removed in little aspects here and there, you guys. Have you guys been peeping that? The removal of that, or the attempt to remove that? I know you guys can think of a million examples in your mind, myriad examples in your mind of what I am talking about when I say the removal of integrity for the sport, and the many ways that you've seen this exemplified over the years in boxing. Facts or no? Right? I know I certainly can. Very curious to me. And I ask that because I want to know why that is the case in boxing. What is the gain in removing the level of integrity as we know it, or as we have known it all this time, from the sport of boxing? What is there to gain? Why is there that attempt being made, whether covertly or overtly? Why is it being made to distill or filter out such a vital principle? Who benefits from the removal of that principle, of that pillar of integrity and uprightness and rectitude? Huh? Who benefits from that, you guys? We're going to divulge that a little bit, okay, in just a second. But I want to ask you that, because really, at the end of the day, it's like, if you remove that, what are we left with? A goddamn cabaret? Are we signing up to fucking watch a cabaret? Or is boxing a sport of valiance and heart and soul? Ain't that why we're here? So that if you remove the valiance and heart and soul, what the fuck are we watching? What are we watching? But a spectacle, and simply a spectacle. That's not what I signed up for. I don't know about y'all, but I definitely did not sign up for that when it comes to boxing. Now, I think that if you take the heart and soul out of anything, beautiful people, okay, and you inculcate into it, for example, a focus on or a preoccupation with, let's say, strictly the material gain of something. So if you take the heart out and you inculcate into it a preoccupation with material gain or something like that, or whatever is going to be relegated, to whatever degree of profit, what you will have then is something that you can control and exploit at your disposal. That's what you will have when you remove the heart and soul out of something. You will have something exploitable, something to be manipulated at the person's disposal. The moment that there is no heart and soul involved, beautiful family, you have an object, in other words. It is soulless, meaning that you can turn it over, you can pick it up, you can put it down, you can do whatever, you can move it however it is that you want, right? Because the moment that there is heart and soul within something, that would denote that there is a level of awareness and consciousness That's what you get when there is heart and soul existing in something or someone. What you have is awareness and consciousness attached to that heart and soul, which would then denote that there it would be an inherent difficulty in exploiting that when heart and soul is present. Facts or no? Okay. This is because, you know, when there is heart and soul involved in anything, you guys, let's say in entertainment, right? People are more liable to connect with and have an inclination towards whatever that is speaking to the spirit of virtue. Because when you have heart and soul, it is inevitable that virtue will be attached to it because it's serving a purpose. People will be inclined to connect with the spirit of purpose and virtue in whatever that thing is that is obtaining the heart and soul within it. It does not matter what it is, beautiful people, whether it's a sport, whether it's music, does not matter. People will connect to that, whatever that is bearing the heart and the soul. And because of that, there will be some pushback. There will be some fight that the public will have over that particular thing. Whenever, let's say, there is something that stands to be rated or to frivolously, let's say, rearrange it, right? Any type of frivolous attempt to rearrange that particular type of thing, you're going to have pushback from the public because they are connected to the purpose and the spirit of virtue within that thing. People will push back and fight against that if an attempt was made to rearrange it or to remove it completely, right? So let's think about this in the context of boxing then, beautiful family. Let's think about it in the context of boxing. What we would happen to have in this particular instance of boxing is, let's say from a corporate standpoint, an entity that is, coming to, in an effort, let's say, to prevent or combat that pushback, let's say that the boxing public would give. Let's say that we naturally have as boxing fans when we think about the beautiful fighters of the previous eras who we love and respect. In order to bypass our connection to the current fighters, for example, right? What they would need to do, the entity who is wanting, let's say, to redefine the terms of what is popular or what is acceptable right now, what they would have to do is then aggrandize. They would have to aggrandize the idea that material gain or mass visibility or some level of exposure or whatever else is the objective that they're trying to push as the new standard, they would have to aggrandize and prioritize that. They would have to make that the thing to be exalted or seen as the pinnacle over that of the heart and the soul that we are naturally inclined to value. They have to replace it. So instead of your connection, your long love that you've had for boxing, for the greats like Hearns and Ray Leonard and Mike Tyson, all these beautiful people that, Roy Jones, Tarver, all these people that we have admired, right? Whitaker, all these beautiful brothers, for example. We got fed so deeply, nourished so deeply by these beautiful men over the years that we have built a genuine natural inclination to loving boxing. All of us could agree to that, right? Because we are all here and all connected because of boxing. So that instead of our connection, they are now trying to remove this heart, this soul and passion that we have by distracting us with frivolous things. Frivolous forms of entertainment now. Oh, you don't have to be so caught up. Oh, you're so old school, right? You're so old fashioned. Oh, this is the times. We're just ushering in the new times, right? And so that there is a berating of the very sentimental value that made you a boxing diehard, made you a boxing supporter and enthusiast. They got to devalue that and try to swindle in a fad. They got to make you supplant your love for boxing with a fad, and they're going to make you value that fad, whatever the fad is or the trend is at that particular moment. So that sooner enough, if you engage enough, if you allowed yourself to be swindled, you will be regurgitating that level of parlance. Oh, this is just the times. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, I'll spend my money, or if I don't have to spend my money for it, I'll still, watch it. You won't even know that your whole parlance has changed to the dominant narrative that is being pushed to you. You don't even know that the switch and the swap has happened. You just readily are picking up that parlance and that language and that dialogue, right? These are the things that are liable to happen when you passively engage with what we should be all passionate about and vehement about, right? For example, so that the removal of an attachment or a tendency that people have to not only being entertained from our standpoint as boxing fans, but also the value that we are attached to, the meaning that we are attached to, that we see displayed with this warriorship, right? The removal of that would be paramount on the part of these corporations or entities that are in place, that are trying to exploit the quote unquote market that it is trying to create. Do you understand? In other words, it is profitable to remove the heart and the soul from the sport if they are to have constant access to the opportunity to create superficial, manufactured forms of entertainment, right? They have to remove the heart and soul if they're going to have a constant access to the supply of creating the nonsense for you under the guise of entertainment, in other words, right? So, and it's a form of quote unquote entertainment that the public can be, swindled into willingly signing up for, because it's now been made to be viewed as quote unquote popular or trending or acceptable to whatever form or fashion. And when we think about this, let's enter in the concept of the exhibition. Let's enter in the concept of the exhibition. Let's insert that into the picture. You get the concept of the exhibition. This frivolous, non-beneficial, empty form of quote unquote entertainment that is serving what purpose for the totality of boxing? That's the question I ask. And I think that the idea of entertainment as a whole, you guys, has always and will always pose that type of inherent issue. I'm not saying that there is this, holier than thou approach to entertainment. Things are liable to be susceptible to some level of corruption, or, we're not going to all be on the bandwagon of liking or holding and placing value for the same things. You know what I'm saying? I go into this absolutely conscious of that, but that there is a level of rectitude that has to be on the table. And what the problem is that the removal of the rectitude and probity and integrity is the problem. You can have your form of entertainment, but you do not have to remove integrity from the table in order to be entertained. That's the larger issue that I have. And I think that's any mature person would want that. Possibly, if you're a child, a juvenile or something like that, it's okay, because you're not really analyzing what it is that you are watching. You are just literally sitting back and being entertained, right? But as an adult, we should be at least consciously engaging. I know I am. I don't sit back and with my mind turned off watching something. No, I'm conscious when I'm watching whatever it is that I'm watching, right? So that I'm always looking for a level of integrity or beauty or art or aesthetic to be had, which is all intertwined with probity and integrity to me, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want the removal of that out of anything that I'm engaging with, whether it be entertainment or otherwise. You understand what I'm saying, beautiful people? So that, there's always going to be that issue or the line needing to be drawn, in other words, right? What is entertainment? What is folly? What is beneficial? What is detritus? You know what I'm saying? The issue of where the line is drawn between what is serviceable and what is detritus, or trash, in other words, right? What is beneficial, what is wasteful or purposeless, for example. Okay, there's always going to be that back and forth. And like I said, I'm aware of that, as I'm sure all of you are. Okay, so it's not to say that we need to get rid of that, or that it's impossible to engage with that reality. There's always that fine line. It's an ongoing cycle. But I do think that it's worthwhile as boxing fans to make as many aspects of that reality of the inherent dilemma that's posed within that. It's uh, important for us to make that reality of that blurred line as coherent and visible as possible, so that we can draw a clearer line as possible between the two. It's not to say that it doesn't exist, but that we should be making the line a little bit more clearer as we engage with boxing as boxing fans. Okay. So that things are not so easily obscured, or not as obscured and left to the imagination of people who don't have our interest in mind. People who would be liable to corrupt it, because we are not engaging consciously with what it is that we want. We are blindly signing up to watch things that we don't even like. Oh, it's on, I'm going to watch it, I'm going to support it, I'm going to pay for it, I'm going to do that. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I think it's because we leave things so blurred as consumers, as an audience, as a culture even. Because of that, we tend to be susceptible to further manipulation, real talk, more than we need to be, right? Or, further inculcation by systems or mindsets that are not even our own. It's not that we don't want to engage with the entertainment, that we should be more conscious about the things we engage with. Systems that we didn't consciously agree to are being fed to us on a regular basis. What I'm saying is that we should have discernment, and we should be using our discernment more readily. And I'll just keep it, of course, to boxing. That goes everywhere and in everything. But of course, most definitely in boxing. Boxing is not exempt from that. We ought to be having cognizant participation more often, beautiful family, within sports and otherwise. Nothing wrong with being entertained. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not the case I'm presenting today. We need to be entertained. We like entertainment. It's a beautiful facet of life and culture and expression and being able to socialize. Yeah, we like that. We can definitely sit back and enjoy some entertainment. That is a natural and lovely aspect of any culture. But as I said, I do not want to be force-fed a dynamic that I have not registered as purposeful. That's why I don't want to support things that don't drive an overall purpose. You know what I'm saying? The fact that I had in the preface, stated the fact that I do not like anything without soul. I look for soul in everything that I do, means that I am in control. That's not to say that everything that I come into contact with is going to have soul, but that when I come across something that does not, I do not support it. That is my consciousness at work, my discernment to say, okay, I will participate in this, and this I will not. Boxing fans, particularly us Black boxing fans, need to be more astute about that. You know what I mean? As I'm sure, many of us are, what I'm saying, because we all make the conscious choice to go ahead and participate in or not participate in whatever, right? We are all adults here. But I'm saying, as far as the parts that we do not control, because we do not control all the aspects of media, we do not control the millions of dollars that get put into these exhibition fights, for example, but they are most certainly not stopping those people from shoving that shit down our faces. You know what I mean? The exhibition folly is servicing, nothing but the pockets of the participants, in my view. That's one of my major. I have a lot of gripes with it, but that is a gripe that I have with the exhibition. It's servicing only the pockets of the participants. It is not servicing the boxing world or community, you guys. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm not opposed to anybody out here getting their money. Business is business. Go ahead and do your thing. You know what I mean? But make it count within boxing. This is also a two-way street. These businesses are just walking up in here as if, oh, okay, we're just going to push this out. And they're just going to sit back and take it. Like I said, they're just going to shut up and be a fan of boxing. So we're going to tie the names of legends and greats because they love boxing. They'll just shut up and sit down and be a fan and take it. Excuse me? Where's the reciprocity? This is a two-way street as far as the consumer is concerned, right? These overseers are neglecting the fact that, it is the supporter base of boxing that they need to depend on and rely on to sign up to watch these events. so that they can gain their profits and stuff like that, and so that they can have the success of the event and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. But where the fuck is my profit as an avid boxing supporter if what I am signing up for, or if what you want me to watch has no meaning, is not fruitful for myself as an avid supporter, or for the sport that I vehemently support? What's the point? Where's my profit? Because that's my biggest profit. Like I say time and time again, I do not get to spend the millions that these people take home and bank. I don't spend your millions you take home. You know what I'm saying? But I do spend the next 15 years of my life reminiscing about some of the best fights I've done seen. I take that home. If I'm not getting that, what the fuck is being served? You know what I mean? I am enticed by boxing, and therefore I am entertained by that enticement that I have for boxing. But that enticement and that level of entertainment that I gain is because I want to see beautiful warriors claim their place alongside the greats who did it beautifully before them. That's what's on my plate. You can get paid all you want. Go ahead and go get paid. Promoter, cut man, fighter, sponsors, all y'all. Go ahead and go get paid, for putting your events on. You know what I'm saying? No issue with that at all. But I must be satiated as a patron. I got to be satiated too. It is not just your pockets that you need to be filling. Meanwhile, you never mind me to the side. Much of what gets pushed onto us as boxing fans, beautiful people, as the foundation of this boxing community, which we are, is based upon what we accept and choose to deal with. Should we not deal with that particular type of nonsense and folly, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be getting the spectacle of heartless and soulless entertainment or exhibitions in boxing. How many people have you heard? Oh, I'm going to sign up for this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to support. Let's say they don't want to say support because they don't necessarily like it, but they're like, I'll watch it. Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a try. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, nothing wrong with that. Your curiosity is going to be fed however it is that you want to quench that, But if you are complaining about the exhibition that isn't serving boxing, if you are conscious of the fact that it's not serving boxing, why are you participating? That's a larger question. And that, that's a personal choice for everybody to each their own. But it is a question that I put on the table for you to indulge with, in your own time. Case in point, of course, speaking of the exhibition, I bring all of that up to bring up this particular topic. Hold on. Let me take a quick pause because I think some people that came in here, beautiful people, I want to salute people who I may have missed. Salute to the King Snoopy. Jonathan Simon, I see you. Oh my goodness, Mr. Roll Tide is in the building. Salute to you. Big salute to King Snoop. I see you in the building. Wonderful to have you. Oh my goodness, the king and the coach. Hudson, my number one comrade, is in the building. Salute to the King Andrew. I see you. Andrew 100, I see you. Wow, the King Cypher is in the building. He says, hope all is well. Peace to the chat. All is well, King. Thank you very much. I hope the same for you. Most definitely. Okay, just wanted to give some quick, my brother, the good brother Shelton, LDBC, is in the building. Salute to the King, Jose Diaz, I see you. B-Move is in the building. The Intelligent One is in the building. Salute to the King, Intelligent Savage. Salute to the King Jut, I see you. Yes, lovely to see you. All right. Just wanted to take a quick pause there. Salute the good people. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Okay. Definitely hit the like button. I always forget to say that, but hit the like button on your way in. Yeah. So case in point, I say all that to say, of course, with the exhibition that we see, the movement, I should say, that we see on the rise right now. And that has, I can't say steadily been on the rise because it kind of has been on the peripheral, on the, on the side of the periphery a little bit, but that it's making, a little bit of a mark. There's some indentation that seems to be attempted right now with the idea and perspective of the exhibition in boxing. I got questions, y'all. I really do. I got questions. So, as if the exploits of the recent announcement of the Jake Paul versus Red Light Special Davis fight that is supposed to be happening in November wasn't enough, insult to injury to us diehards, us boxing enthusiasts. Barely a goddamn week after that news dropped, good people, we have yet another impeding exhibition in the works. I know they tripping. They gotta be tripping. What is going on, you guys? Have you guys heard that Ring Magazine and some other sources had announced that Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson will be facing each other sometimes next year, you guys? Did you guys see this? Did you see the poster? A little bit of that should be on your thumbnail on your screens right now, you guys. I took that from the original poster that's goddamn circling around social media. Did you see this? I am so sick of these goddamn exhibitions, you guys. I want no parts of it. What in the WWE is going on? Huh? What in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is happening here, you goddamn guys? Huh? What in the Ringling Brothers is happening? How is the sport that I love being supplanted with a circus show, ladies and gentlemen? What the hell did that happen? I didn't sign up for that. I don't remember giving my motherfucking signature on that document of approval. I didn't give no goddamn approval for boxing to be turned into a damn circus show. This is wild work to me. This is feeling straight out of the goddamn Ringling Brothers or something like that. I'm just waiting for a tiger to just goddamn jump through the hoop of fire out this bitch. What? What is going on? No part of me signed up for boxing turning into a damn video game overnight. I don't like this. And I don't like its continued movement, seeping further and further and further into, recognition and visibility within boxing. I don't want this. Am I the only one that feels like that? Am I being old-fashioned? You guys let me know. Am I being old-fashioned? Am I being a prude? Am I being too precious about this? I don't want it. I want no part of it. I don't want it at all. Okay? Moreover, why is this then? Now this is real heavy for me, you guys, because I was really sitting with this one. And when this popped in my brain, I was like, oh, hells no. I gotta talk to the good people about this. Good family. Why is it that only elite Black legends are being used for the promotion of and the propelling of this fiasco called the exhibition? Has anybody thought about that? About why the fact stands that only elite Black legends of the past are being used to promote this quote unquote exhibition folly? Why are our grapes, in other words, being used to fuel this nonsense, to provide blood to this nonsense? Anybody notice that? I'm sure you have had to. Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Evander Holyfield, Roy Jones. What is going on? Do you hear the names of the great fucking giants I just mentioned? What's happening? What is the meaning of this? Now, it may very well be a reality that these men may, to whatever measure or degree, need the money, right? Or perhaps they simply want, exposure to opportunities to amass more money just because it is there to be made. That's definitely a possibility that we could engage with and accept, without much pushback, right? Because of course one would understand the fact that money is on the table to be made. Like I said, who doesn't want to make money, right? Likewise, we may also posit that they may not be so easily accepting of the fact that their eras have passed, That could very much be the case as well. That they are not readily accepting of the fact that they have had their time to shine already. And so that, maybe they are unwilling to let go of that desire for the spotlight. That is very much a possibility as well, brothers and sisters. Is that the case? What do you guys think is at work here? Is it all of the above? Definitely quite possible. There are myriad possibilities at hand, brothers and sisters. However, I would be absolutely remiss to act as if I did not find this phenomena odd. It's fucking strange to me. I don't see the Klitschko's coming back for a goddamn exhibition fight. Has anybody seen the Klitschko's in an exhibition fight yet? I didn't see no goddamn Chavez Senior in the goddamn ring. Anybody seen Chavez in the ring? How about Costa Zoo? Is he coming back for a goddamn exhibition to show how his son how it should be done? To give his son a glimmer of hope or the shadow of what glory looks like? Anybody see Costa Zoo coming back for a goddamn exhibition? He was certainly accredited as a big name in his day. Anybody seen these men coming back for exhibitions? I don't think so. And it begs the question, are our Black legends really that pressed? Are they that pressed, you guys? That's a real question. Are our great warriors of the past that pressed for whatever it may be, exposure, limelight, one shot again at a level of fame, money, whatever the case is, ego boost, whatever the fuck may be the case at hand. Are they that pressed? Is that worth sacrificing the legacy and the honest value of their contribution? Is it worth the sacrificing of that for some cash? The legacy that they did manage to create that is so beloved? Because what is happening upon their re-entrance into this ring in their goddamn 60s? You tell me. I think it's definitely worth analyzing because this is now, as I said earlier, trying to impose itself as a norm within boxing. These exhibitions, the concept of the exhibition. Hell, we got a goddamn active fighter just got into his goddamn 30s, haven't fought one goddamn champion at the 135 division yet. Not one single champion. And he's in a goddamn exhibition fight. Ain't fought a single champion yet at goddamn 135. And he's in a damn exhibition? What is this opening up the door to? A means to bypass competition for a bag? And he's the case study right now? Oh, young fighters can do it too. It don't just gotta be Mike Tyson, y'all. How about we get the young, fruitful, profitable, notable fighters in on this as well? Let's just offer them the right amount of money, and they'd be willing to sacrifice whatever of any potential for legacy just to get a bag. What's really going on, you guys? I'd definitely like to know. Like I said, it's moving its way in and imposing itself as, some type of norm right now. Do you guys see this? As a standard of some sort that is being created, whereby Black legacy specifically is totally up for sale. Can you guys see this? Black legacy is totally and completely up for sale in boxing. Is that what we are witnessing? So that now we have our legends. Our legends are not simply able to enjoy their hard-earned contribution that they gave to the sport, the blood that they bled for this sport, the foundations that they've laid for this sport. They are not simply able to enjoy that. They got to come back and give more blood to the animal they already slayed, so that it's a constant machine. You can't even enjoy what you've done, Black warrior. And you are too senseless to allow yourself to enjoy what you've done. Ain't that crazy? Because they are not being forced into that ring. They have carrots dangling in front of them, as I said in the preface. So that they are not content with being the pillars of legacy anymore, as some of these men that we named earlier are exemplifying. Your Tysons, your Floyds, you know what I'm saying? Jones, these people who participated in exhibitions thus far. They're not content with being the pillars of the legacy of Black warriorship. They are not content with the fact that they bled as young men. Now they are being called in to provide more blood for the relevancy and sustenance of this sport, long after they are supposed to have hung up their goddamn gloves. What's going on? And I have another interesting question to pose to you guys. Is it because no one else would be interested in seeing any other fighter? Is it perhaps because nobody, let's say, would be interested in seeing Costazu come back and return to the ring? Would the exhibition be really marketable with Costazu fighting Jake Paul? Would George Groves or Carl Froch be interesting in a return? Would they be marketable to promote the idea and concept of the exhibition? I don't fucking think so. Right? So that it is elite Black warriorship and generalship. That is the constant blood and lifeline of boxing. Constantly. While they are active, and now as exemplified, even when they are, mature elders, they still got to give blood. You understand what I'm saying? Black elite warriorship has been the bedrock and substrata of boxing since the turn of the century up until now. This is why an alleged, however many millions, upwards of 50 or 60 million people tuned in last year to see Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. Nobody gave a damn about Jake Paul. Mike Tyson drove millions of eyes to that event, simply because of the thunder his name has held and still holds, simply because of the weight that he has carried over from his heyday as a king of the sport. Black elite warriorship is the sustenance and bloodline of boxing. And now it is to the detriment of our warriors and our legends because they cannot rest. They can't sit content with what they've given. They are up for sale too. How the fuck is that happening? And how are we not talking about this as a Black boxing community? It has to be spoken about and looked at and analyzed, good people. And I know that there are a lot of perspectives about this. People are like, well, let them make their money. Like I said, that is the foremost, talk point that people will try to posit, right? Of course, it's the money. But like I said, where is the line drawn between legacy and entertainment? Your legacy is not worth giving up, in my view, for a spectacle under the guise of entertainment. You don't need to be made a spectacle of. And you should not allow yourself to be one. So, where are our legends valuing their own legend? Where is the line? Klitschko can sit back and enjoy his legend. Both of those Klitschko brothers. Carl Froch can sit back and be called one of the best to do it in European boxing. Hell, Ricky goddamn Hatton. Chavez. They could ride to the sunset on that legacy for all eternity and will be respected for it and will not be, expected to become a spectacle to any degree in order to maintain a level of relevancy, because what they've done was relevant enough. Where is that mentality in our Black fighters? The very people who are the face of the sport. Very, very interesting dynamic here, because the blame it isn't in any one person's hands. It is in both of their hands. The aspect of the sport that is calling them out and exploiting them for their legacy and their elite warriorship. And it is the legends themselves who are hoeing themselves out, essentially, to become a spectacle for a bag. Interesting dynamic and interesting questions that come to mind here, you guys. I can go on all day about this, but I do want to move on. So that the legends, undoubtedly hold value because of what they've done on an elite level, as aforementioned. Some may think that the reselling of their image for the alignment of themselves within a new era may be that. Oh, well, they're just trying to, align with the new times. But what is serviceable about seeing beautiful people, a 60-year-old man in the ring? What is serviceable about that for boxing? How are they involving themselves, if you're going to go based off of that excuse of them trying to beat with the times or stay current with the time? How are they involving themselves when it's not servicing anything useful? You understand what I'm saying? Because real talk, how they are involving themselves is purposeless to the sport of boxing. The exhibition feeds nothing. They are not adding to or augmenting any level, any shred of value in any way by participating in this spectacle called the exhibition. Their names hold the buzz of their legacy in their heyday. But what a spectacle they become when at 50, 60 years old, all they are doing essentially is trying to stay alive in that ring and imitate the shadows of yesteryear. For a bag? I don't want to see my great being made a spectacle of. You should be on your throne. Excuse me? Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul did nothing for the soul, brothers and sisters. Y'all know that. Nothing for the soul. Where was that a soulful fight? You tell me. Nothing for the soul. Neither did Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones. Absolutely no service to be gained from that for the benefit of boxing. Served no purpose. Except to, maybe the thrill of, maybe we're going to see Roy Jones throw one of his crazy ass hooks like he did in goddamn 2002. Just on a hope and a prayer, forgetting that this man is motherfucking 60, damn near 60 years old. Why are we still requiring that of him? And why is he trying to live off of what he was? As if the legacy he created was not enough. It's very immature to me, in other words, the air of this. Okay? Nothing about that made the sport great. It contributed nothing to this era except a spectacle for a half hour or however the duration of the fight lasted. There was nothing to learn, no fruit from that. Nothing made us better as boxing supporters, boxing enthusiasts, and students of the game. We goddamn see the only thing that we walked away with from that goddamn Jake Paul and Tyson fight last year was the motherfucking unasked for visual of Mike Tyson's whole ass out in a goddamn thong. Who the fuck asked for that? That was the most motherfucking riveting moment of the entire goddamn event. This motherfucking ass was all over the goddamn, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker was in the goddamn thong and just walking around shadow boxing like he was in his motherfucking living room. Excuse me? I did not ask for that, sir. I did not ask for that, okay? I really didn't. I really did not. But that's what the fuck we got. I don't want to see no 60-year-old ass spread out all over the goddamn screen, sir. What? I object. I fucking object, sir. And I know my good family up in here feels me on that. Okay? Who the fuck asked to see this motherfucking ass just hanging out? I don't think any of us did. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? It gave Netflix and Jake Paul a hell of a goddamn profit. You understand? And it definitely gave Mike Tyson himself a nice, piece of change out of that money for his absolute exploitation, because that's what it was. His name was exploited. His stature and legacy was absolutely exploited. Hell, even his ass was goddamn exploited. Literally. What? What is going on? You know what I mean? So they got their little cheddar off of that. But what was essential about that particular venture? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. No purpose was served. No soul was involved. Okay? The huge numbers and viewership that people love to, at that particular point wanted to talk about and say it was the most, watched, event on Netflix. They did all these record-breaking viewership and stuff like that. But after a couple of days or weeks, all of that motherfucking, talk turned to absolute dust. And nobody gave a damn. Once again, it's like it never happened. And here we are, still not giving a fuck that it happened. This is what you get when things serve no purpose, when there is the removal of the heart and soul within boxing. This is what you get. It breeds purposelessness and apathy within the boxing community as a whole. Black warriorship, you guys, is so easily mystified and available for tampering. It's so easily exploited and put up for sale at the drop of a hat. Why is that? I want us to ask that more often as we look at these things. And before you think about going to support some type of nonsense like that, or before you even make a decision for yourself if it is nonsense or not, ask that question. I think that, what I despise most about all of this is that particular aspect, is this easily accessible aspect within Black warriorship being tampered with and, just run amok and just ran through like that. I don't like that because I don't see it anywhere else in boxing. There simply isn't cause or reason to maintain respect for or reverence for legacy when it is holed out, ladies and gentlemen. There is no cause left or remaining to revere something when it is holed out and easily exploited and exposed in any type of way, right? You can't have respect for that. So why are these men making their own legacies available today? That's a huge question that I have for the Black warriors who have participated in this thus far, or who have thought to participate thus far. And it's certainly one that I ask of Tank Davis, who, like I said, at 31 years old, uh, is without ever having faced a champion in his division of 135, is now opting to take an exhibition fight on. You know what I'm saying? So interesting stuff. You put yourself in a trick bag when you allow for that respect as a warrior to be exploited on that particular type of level. And I think that's the only thing that the exhibition breeds, because it is not championship being displayed. It is not valiance being displayed. There is no restitude in that, because it's not even fucking real. That's not warriorship. That is just entertainment. The warriorship is the soul. That shit is removed. Oh, let's just go ahead and pity pat for, a couple of, 10 rounds. Let's act like we sparring and get through this so that we can get paid. The fuck? No, that's not boxing. It has no place in boxing. Okay, they need to create, a separate league for that bullshit. If they wanted that level of entertainment, it should not exist. Within the realm of boxing. And to think that these men, who, like I said, are regarded as legendary figures, founding fathers, are setting, distasteful examples, let's say, for the current line of warriors. What the fuck are these men doing at 60 years old? They are still revered. So yes, people are going to look at them, including young fighters. Is that something that these young fighters have, to look forward to when they get of that particular type of age? There is no code. It's just the mindset of, if it's going to make you some cash, sell your ass. Sell your ass if it's going to get you some cash. Is that what's being exemplified by these legends? Our legends, our people. Is that the only aim and objective? That's problematic to me. For example, when these young warriors of today reach the age of these goats in the future, right? Should they avail themselves for that type of thing? Should they avail themselves to the idea of an exhibition when they get that age? Is this what they have to look forward to? Oh, yeah, I'm retired, but I could always go ahead and go in there with a thong on and have a fight with the next YouTuber or whatever is going to be in 30 years from now. Is this what's happening? Where is the line drawn for legacy and entertainment? I think all serious boxing fans, stand to benefit from sitting with that question. Let me check with my beautiful people, see what y'all think. Ain't that crazy, you guys? Crazy stuff at work, you guys, that I have been engaging with. Now, I'm going to scroll a little bit ways up because I want to see what y'all was talking about. And then I'll make my way back down to where you guys are at now. Yes, Twin. He says, yes, if it wasn't for people like Devin and Clarissa and Deontay, I think I would have left boxing. Twin, oh my God, you said a word. You said a word. Listen, Twin, you better leave my damn AJ alone. You know that is my husband. Okay? Yes, AJ is my husband. I did not tell everyone, but I guess the cat's out the bag. Me and AJ are married. We have been married since 2018. Or was it 2019? I forgot. I love me some AJ. But real talk, he's one of the ones that pulled me back into the sport. Right with Devin, right with Tank, right with EJ. AJ was one of those ones for me. AJ was one of the, and I did not like AJ initially. I didn't like him at all, really. I thought he was a cornball. But it wasn't even his boxing that got me into the sport. It was an interview that I saw of him. I liked his personality, and that kind of opened me up to looking at his fights. And then I was like, I slowly became a fan because I liked his personality. Like I said, I like fiery people. So he drew me in. Stop hating on AJ. I know a lot of the brothers don't like AJ. But it is what it is. I'm definitely an AJ fan for sure. The King Patrice, salute to the King Patrice. He says the condoning and babying of Ryan Garcia might be the seed to all of the spectacle nonsense that we are seeing in boxing in this generation. 1000%. That's part and parcel to the spectacle and to the idea of the charades that are absolutely permeating the sport right now. He is definitely a part of that story, King Patrice. Absolutely. He is part and parcel of that 1000%. He was able to get fame off of the spectacle that he created. And he still, even though he has, lost and got put on his ass in his last fight, you know what I'm saying? He is still, as you saw with that goddamn coon Najee, allowed opportunities to get up there in front and just have a platform in general. 1000%. He is definitely a part of that mentality of the spectacle in boxing. And that there being a blurred line between, or not a strong enough line set between legacy and entertainment. Because what he did in all his, disgusting behavior, was for the sake of entertainment. His drug cheating in itself became a level of entertainment and spectacle. People were not even concerned about the disgusting actions this man took to cheat Devin Haney. They were only concerned about the headlines that it created, the spectacle that created around the scandal. He essentially got built up off of the entertainment of his own corruption. It's disgusting work, King Patrice. 1000%. Couldn't agree with you more. Crazy work. The great Mike says, not holding Ryan accountable was so inexcusable. 1000%. 1000%, you guys. Y'all are on point. This is why I love my good family, because my good family are like me. We like to think about these things, we engage about these things, and we are cognizant as we are participating in the sport of boxing. You know what I'm saying? We do not sit passively and watch anything. We know who we are. We bring ourselves to the table in whatever it is that we do. And we're going to ask these questions as we sit down and watching this stuff. Oh, what was that over there? Oh, that looked funny. Or why would he do that? We're going to engage. We're going to critically think about these things. You know what I'm saying? My twin says, fully agree. Tankomaniacs keep bringing up Ali fighting exhibitions fights. The difference is Ali fought all of his contemporaries. Thank you. I've been hearing that too. Oh, Ali did it. He also motherfucking fought all the goddamn warriors around him. Made sure to do that in sickness and in goddamn health out this bitch. That's why he's the GOAT. You tell me what's Purple Pain Davis's goddamn excuse? Never having fought a champion in his own goddamn weight division since he's gotten there. Not one. But he's signing up to fight an exhibition? Don't you have work to do, young man? Oh, I guess not, because you're retiring with your goddamn hair grease at the end of the year. These people make me sick, twin. These people make me sick. Okay. Oh my goodness, my beautiful sister Tay Tay is in the building. Hey Tay. Yes, that's the beautiful sister Tay Tay. She says, good evening, my Leo sis. Hey, Leo sis. Lovely to see you. That's my lioness sister, my fellow lioness in the building. Love the Empress Lioness energy in the building. The King Patrice says, yup, in all parts of society, degeneracy and lack of integrity is being promoted to push ignorance, because an ignorant population is easier to control. My sentiments exactly, Patrice. My sentiments exactly. That's why it's absolutely paramount for me to, within the preface, set that table about the removal of the heart and soul and the inculcating of an agenda to supplant that heart and soul, right? So that you're going to be inculcated with all the, with the idea of my marketing scheme that is absolutely baseless and soulless. So in order for me to inculcate that into you, I need to take out your heart. I need to take out your heat, that fire and that passion that you are inclined to gravitate towards as a real boxing fan. I need to remove that. I need to make you, refrain from attaching yourself to that. And instead, I need to make you more distracted and swindled by or ensorcelled by the trend something that is going to be seen as the it thing to do, or the it thing to be a part of. Let me replace all of that with that. Because the moment that you have heart, you are going to be aware, and you are going to be staunch and ardent about what it is that you are passionate about. You're going to be extra conscious, extra cognizant, and we don't need that because we need to control you. 1000% King Patrice. Always on point as usual, King. Oh my goodness, the King Freedom is in the building. Hey, King Freedom. I didn't see you join. Salute to you, King. Thank you so much. The King David says true. My beautiful sister Tay Tay says facts. Oh my goodness, I love my good family. Yes, 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 King Jose. Thank you very much. Y'all know what time it is. This is why you guys are my good family. Okay? Because y'all see what time it is. Let me scroll a little bit back down to see what y'all was talking about so I could talk to you all. Xavier Jones, did I salute you? Salute Xavier. Only ones willing to sell out, child. And that's the larger, that's a part of the larger discussion. King Xavier, you know what I'm saying? Why are our legends, the people who are the like I said, the bloodline of this sport, the bedrock of this sport, the substrata, right? Why are they so alacritous about going ahead and taking that avenue? What is it that you are really gaining? You understand? I just don't like the idea, of the hoeing out of this. It is not like these men are on a platform that they have an opportunity to, I don't know, maybe fill the sport with something meaningful. I don't know. I mean, a lot of them, like Roy Jones, Roy Jones was a trainer, so that he gave back to the sport in that way and stuff like that. He has shared his knowledge and intelligence with myriad fighters, right? People can go and talk to Roy Jones and stuff like that. He has a gym and all that type of stuff. So I'm aware that they may have contributed in that way or continue to contribute. Like Mayweather, he invests in young fighters. He has Cromel Moten, however the hell you say his name, right? After parting ways with Tank Davis, so that he is still investing and I guess putting back into young fighters in a particular way. But that is what is serviceable. You know what I'm saying? Exhibition matches are not serviceable in any way. At least when you are working with fighters and providing, tutelage to fighters, you are literally investing in the soul of boxing, literally and figuratively, because you are inputting your knowledge and wisdom into a life that is going to take that on and exemplify your teachings and carry that on. That is the fruit. That is the earth. That's the nourishment. Exhibition nourishes nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's not like the people say, oh, well, at least they're going to be remembered. I'm not going to be remembered. Well, how many of you going to remember goddamn? How many of you want to remember Mike Tyson in that goddamn thong? It's not giving. It's not motherfucking giving, ladies and gentlemen. At all. All right. We got somebody named Mr. Jennard Hill. He says, Floyd is clout chasing, in my opinion. He always does this. He announces a big fight event or one of his fights around the time an active fighter has a legacy fight or a big fight. Yeah, that's true. And the attention seeking is absolutely an aspect, and that's one that I had to highlight. In addition to the idea of money, it's also the idea that is very possible, that these men, may not just, be comfortable with the fact that their eras have came and gone, so to speak, right? And that they want the spotlight and the attention. We all know that Floyd is, a part of that. That's been a part of his identity for a long time. He likes the spotlight. He likes to talk. He likes to be in front of the camera. He likes to still call himself the face of boxing. He loves the idea of saying that nobody has yet surpassed him, this, that, and the third. And so, the ego is very much a part of the conversation, in my view. Interesting, very interesting dynamic, you guys. And that's something that we have to contend with as especially particularly Black boxing fans, because we have our fighters, Black beautiful men, who are carrying on, what many of us could view as juvenility, right? Like you were OG. There's nothing that you need to prove to anything or anybody anymore. You know what I'm saying? Your legacy speaks for itself and has and will continue to over the past 25, 50 years or whatever, just like the beautiful giants that are the predecessors of these men have done. They don't have to do all that jumping and flashing and stuff like that, for us to, revere them. So it's an interesting conversation on all aspects. Salute to the King Absol in the building. He says they need to tarnish their records and legacy. Ciao. And that's the other thing. Didn't Mike Tyson get a damn L on his record with that pool fight, if I'm not mistaken? I think somebody told me that not too long ago. I believe that was Twin. Twin told me in a previous live, which I did not remember that Jake Paul fight, was, gonna give, add an L to his record. It's just ridiculous on every level, you guys. No matter how we slice that one up. Let me scroll back down. Oh, salute to the King Uncommon in the building. He says it's a lot of grown men advocating, selling they ass for cash, all in defense of Tank Davis. I'm sure a lot of that's going on right now. People trying to justify and cope with the idea that this man is doing an exhibition. It's just no way around it. No way around it. I'm sure Tankomaniacs out here looking very bad in these streets still. They were down all the way bad. They was on suicide watch, real talk, when that news first dropped of that exhibition that's coming up in November and stuff like that. When that was confirmed, child, they was out here, running the streets, pulling their own goddamn hair out. They done snatched their own weaves out when that news dropped. But now, I guess that's, a couple of weeks has passed, about 2 weeks or so, now they're trying to make all types of justifications for it, to try to deal with the fact that it is a reality. Because initially their way to cope with it was by saying, oh, no, this is not real. This is not real. Now it's a goddamn done deal, certified real, there's no way to run. And so they could only placate themselves with some type of excuse. Crazy work, King Uncommon. Crazy work. All right, let me move on to this next topic that I wanted to talk about, good people. Since we are officially in fight week, today is Sunday, you guys, we are officially in fight week for Canelo Bud, you guys. Crazy, crazy work. Ain't that insane how it's already here? For months. We have been talking about this to some degree or another. Not me per se, because I have never, ever been interested in this fight because I did not ask for this fight. But I will say that largely whatever, sectors of the boxing world have been talking about this, trying to rev it up. The promotion for it in its buildup was lackluster over the past months. I'm not going to front. Because for me, this fight lacked soul as well. It's it stands to be profitable, at least for Canelo and, the investors and Bud, of course. But at the same time, I tried to get on the bandwagon with this particular fight because I know what it can look like on the resume of Bud Crawford should he be victorious in this fight, having jumped up the weight classes to become undisputed in an entirely new division that he has never fought in. So that I know what it looks like on paper, even though I was not interested in this fight. I was much more interested, as I always say, in him claiming the 154-pound division because all of the hitters that are there and all of the fights that I want to see him fight, most notably, Jamel Charlo, Earl Spence, should he return to the ring, and all the names that we can run the gamut on down at 54. There's plenty of fighters there for him to have made his mark with and, to have been undisputed against. But, he wanted his payday to be extra something. And he also wanted, in addition to that, to try to attain and accomplish a feat not previously done. And I guess make the impossible, tangible, right? So that I got on board with it somewhat because of that. And of course, I am supporting Bud Crawford in this fight, and I want him to win this fight. But it is what it is. But the boxing world has been talking about it, even though I have been kind of playing the back kind of reticently. Like I said, for the reasons I stated earlier. But, all in all, we are here. We are in fight week. It is official. What I found to be interesting over the past week or so, I don't know if you guys are on Twitter or how deep you guys go into social media, but one thing that has been so interesting to me, not only over the past week, but just let's say the past month, right, is the doting upon Bud Crawford that I have been seeing. People just relishing and doting over this man's physique. Have you guys seen this on social media, y'all? Just all types of doting comments and oh, look at him, look at his physique, damn, look at Bud, he's gotten so much bigger. All these types of people making googly eyes at Bud Crawford and his physique. Crazy work to me. Has anybody noticed this? Like Bud Crawford is causing all types of stares across social media. And there's another stare that he caused, over the past couple of days. It seems like every time this man is seen in a photo, anytime a photo is put out of this man training or whatever degree for this fight, all of boxing just goes in a frenzy. Everything goes up in smoke in a frenzy, right? And so I think maybe a day or two ago, another image had surfaced and was being passed around on social media. And this time it was a shirtless pic of Bud Crawford, right? And Lord have mercy, the goddamn Twitter world stopped, y'all. What is going on? Why are people so, taken by Bud Crawford and this physique that he has, his new physique for the 168 division? I just find it to be so funny. Now, he definitely looks every bit of the 3 weight classes that he jumped up for, right? So that he's looking, stacked, he's looking jacked, he's looking healthy. Absolutely and indeed, right? But goddamn, I can't get past my timeline without seeing people just absolutely ensorcelled by Bud Crawford and his physique. I guess some of this frenzy that's going on may partly be due to the fact that some people are thinking, oh, he's going to go in there, he's really going to put on Canelo, right? And then there's that half that, of people that may be worrying about the fact that, oh, he is putting on this weight. He actually stands a chance against Canelo, right? So there's probably all of that mixed within that as well. But I still find it awfully humorous, beautiful people, that so many people are geeking, about this man's physique, right? It's not the first time that Bud has been in phenomenal shape, you guys. We always see Bud Crawford in shape. He looked absolutely spectacular as far as his physique when he fought Earl Spence, right? He looked good to me then too. He really doesn't look that much far off at all to me, except, say he looks a little bit more stockier, right? But people are definitely tantalized by Bud online. They're just like, oh my goodness, he's jacked. Oh, look how big he's gotten. Wow, look at his biceps. Oh, look at his chest. Bud, you are an animal, right? It's just crazy. If you guys have been on social media, you know what I'm talking about. People are definitely excited. But I think that's just a part of the excitement. Like I said, people are gearing up for this fight and they want to see what he is going to do, whether they fear the outcome of this fight or not, whether they are confident in Bud Crawford or not. People are definitely interested in what he is going to do, right? So I'm interested, definitely interested. Now, in addition to that, I definitely have to say that I have become a little bit, ambivalent along the way as well. Because, to me, and seeing the spectacle caused around his weight and stuff like that, and how good he looks and phenomenal people are giving him credit for looking and stuff like that. That's all goddamn good and well. But what is interesting to me is the fact that it's not his size that is going to pull off this feat per se. His physique, let's say, right? So that he's in shape, he is preparing for fighting. So to that degree, yes, what he is doing is going to surface the fight in some way. But I am much more interested, less in how he looks and more in what he is going to do with the shape that he has prepared himself to be in. I'm not interested in the way he looks. Okay. So a preoccupation with his physique is futile to me at this point. What interests me is how he is going to be able to adapt that weight, that physique that he is, bringing to that ring. How is he going to adapt that in real time in battle against Canelo? Okay. Because real talk, when he got into the ring with his new weight that he had put on upon his entrance into 54 when he fought Madrimov, which was his first and last fight at 54 last year. Bud Crawford did not look sprightly after putting on that weight to go up the one division that he did to fight Madrimov. He didn't look sprightly. Okay. He had to work to get around himself in that ring in adapting to that weight that he put on, in addition to the other factors like the awkward style that was at play that he had to deal with from Madrimov, that flinching style, and also considering the fact that he was in a, new division, of course, and stuff like that. These things were at work and at play in that fight, so that he looked nothing like we were used to seeing as a result of that, right? So that we have to consider weight as being one of the factors to the outcome of how that performance ended up looking on Bud's part, right? So that now we are entering into 168. Okay, 2 additional weight classes above that at 54. Right? Even though I call it 3 weight classes because he only had one fight at 54. So essentially, in my view, he is jumping up from 47 to 68, in my view. Okay? So that in entering this 68 division with all of this new weight, he jumped up 1, and his performance looked lackluster, comparatively speaking. He definitely looked nothing like he did against EJ at 54. I think a lot of us can agree to that. Now we got to consider him adding additional weight, jumping up to additional divisions against arguably, one of the best fighters in boxing today, right? And essentially the undisputed king of that division of 168. We got to consider these things. So all of these things are a factor, and I think it's what adds the intriguing dynamic of this for me. It's like, what is Bud Crawford going to look like come this Saturday in that ring? What is he going to look like? Because if he looked like that at 54, what the fuck is he going to look like with the additional weight going up to 68 against Canelo, a motherfucker who haven't been hurt since goddamn 1923? Excuse me? When have we ever seen Canelo hurt, you guys? Very interesting stuff. It definitely makes for an interesting fight. Okay. I'm interested. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. I know that I have my support on Bud. That's for sure. Right. I think he has pretty much all of the culture on his back. Right. Anybody, Black boxing fans are looking to him to some degree, to win, or at least wanting him to win, even if they don't have him winning, of course, because there are so many odds against him. There are a lot of people who are like, listen, this motherfucker ain't gonna win this fight, right? But that doesn't mean that the masses of people don't want him to win. I think a lot of us in our community want him to win, right? But it's interesting nonetheless. Very interesting fight, and I think that's what's really holding my attention at this particular point. Or that has built a level of gusto for this fight, because I initially didn't have it, like I said, when it was initially announced. I wanted nothing to do with this fight at all. But interesting stuff. Oh, speaking of weight, has anybody noticed how all the PED accusations that were thrown at Bud, that have been, a part of the rumor mill over the past month or so on social media about Bud, has anybody noticed that all those allegations have ceased? The PED accusations and allegations and rumors. Anybody notice that? They have completely stopped over the past couple of weeks. Apparently, since Bud put his foot all the way in the ass of a YouTuber who was one of the main components in peddling that nonsense, ever since he done, put a foot up in that ass, magically, all the commotion surrounding those types of rumors about him using PEDs and all this nonsense, all that commotion dissipated. Absolutely ceased to exist. Anybody notice that? Crazy work. Crazy work. And since then, has anybody heard any reference to Canelo? Anybody asked where Canelo's drug test results were? Anybody asked for a copy of his VADA, test results? Anybody asked for that document from Canelo at any particular point? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, I wonder if people are going to try to, attempt to dig up that old PED excuse should Bud win on Saturday. Oh, don't be surprised, you guys, if the whole allegations start coming up again, even if it wasn't from that one channel that Bud, put his foot up in the ass of. I wonder how conveniently those PED rumors are going to start again if he is successful on Saturday. What y'all think? I would not be surprised at all. Real talk, nothing surprises me in boxing, the level of imbecility that people stoop to. Real talk. Honestly, I think that's the reason why the rumors started to begin with, was because there was a fear or a worry over the possibility that Bud, may very well be successful against Canelo on Saturday. I think people were afraid. That group of people, in addition to the hate and in addition to them trying to go against Black Elite Warriorship and pushing for, massa, basically. I think in addition to that, there's a fear of the threat that may be posed, or just the idea that a threat could be posed to Canelo is what started all those insinuations and rumors being pushed and passed around like fucking hotcakes. Crazy work. People were in absolute full protection mode of Massa Canelo. Oh, Bud on PED. Oh, he coming up to 68. He gotta be. Don't forget he's with Schnack, y'all. Bud is with Schnack, y'all. Right? All types of nonsense was being pushed. Absolutely diabolical, trying to protect that man Canelo and whatever image they feel or chastity they feel is worth protecting of Canelo. Right? Because he is the darling, to some people. It's just weird. Boxing gets really, really weird. Left in the hands of these tabloid, peddling ass, sassy ass weirdos, everything that we love about this sport will go absolutely asunder if we left boxing in these people's hands. Nothing but tabloid, sassy soap opera loving man fans. That's what those goddamn people are in the social media world, right? Also interesting to me as well, you guys. Did you guys hear Bud mention in a recent interview that he did that the Paul versus Jake, I said Paul versus Jake, the Tank versus Paul fight is a scripted debacle? Did y'all hear that? Did you hear that interview where Bud said that? Basically that the fight is scripted and nonsensical? Did y'all see that? That shit was funny to me. I saw a clip of that. And he's just going in on that fight. He's like, yeah, if it's scripted, it's scripted. They're just going to get up there and spar and, slap it up real quick. And, it poses no reality. Right. And so essentially, he was saying the same thing that, our discussion today is about, is that it is no soul. It serves no purpose. There is no heart in it. And therefore, it is baseless and purposeless and scripted. I'm absolutely glad, now that I think about it, I am glad that somebody of note said it publicly, a fighter of note. I'm so glad that Bud said that, looking back on that. Because all of a sudden now, fighters are, acting all reticent about calling things out for what they are. This is another fucking thing in aspect in boxing that I can't stand. Fighters don't say what the fuck is happening. They acting, they walking on goddamn eggshells around shit like that. Bud said this shit is fucking scripted. No. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what's going on? Why are other people not calling this for what the fuck it is? You trying to act like this shit is a real fight over the past few weeks. Nobody's saying shit about that nonsense and how bullshit it is, this Tank and goddamn Paul fight. Nobody keeping it a buck. Bud absolutely kept it a buck about that in that clip that I saw, which is crazy work to me. Because this is another aspect and dynamic that will allow for the spreading of this nonsense to continue in boxing, so long as nobody is calling it for what the fuck it is. Nasty work. Bud made no waste in saying this shit is nonsense, it's scripted. He set that whole shit on fire. He was like, no. It's scripted. They're getting up in there. They're doing whatever they do. They're going to run in there. He's too small for Jake. That's what he was saying. He is too small. He going to get up there. Basically, he said Jake going to get up there and mollywop the fuck out of Purple Pain Davis. That shit was hilarious to me. He's like, no, this man, he's massive. You fight at 135. This man is goddamn 200 goddamn pounds. You want to get up there and get yourself mollywopped in there. You know what I mean? I thought that was funny. I'm like, yes, bud, call it what it is. Like, we just say what the fuck it is. That's what any real one, any conscious one is thinking. You know what I'm saying? That this man is liable to get all the way mollywopped in there, right upside his head, just beat up all upside his goddamn head. What? It's crazy. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, Bud himself is getting up in there with a bigger man. He's up there trying to, get up there with a larger, he jumped his weight classes. But even though Bud is trying to attack this feat against a larger Canelo on Saturday, or what, a man that has been, the elite and dominant force in a higher division than him. Yes, he is getting in there to do that. But at least he and Canelo are of the same stature. You saw them face to face. Those men are the same goddamn height. You know what I'm saying? Bud, he's looking girthy and stuff like that so that he can get up there and deal with that pressure. You know what I'm saying? Much better than he was a man goddamn 70 goddamn pounds heavier than him, that's for sure. Tank and goddamn Jake Paul, it looked like a goddamn baby trying to dominate a fucking a whale or a bear or something like that. That looked like a fucking 2-year-old standing next to my goddamn uncle. What? What is going on? The optics of Purple Pain Davis and Jake Paul is absolutely hilarious to me. I think they're going to have a face-off or something like that. If not next week, then the week after. I believe it's going to be next week, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to have the kickoff presser for that nonsense of a fight. Yo, wait till we see that fucking face-off, y'all. What the hell? What the hell? I'm like, somebody go get that baby off the stage. Because that's what Tank is going to look like. Who put their fucking child up on the stage? That's going to be wild, you guys. Imagine that spectacle. Imagine that spectacle. Oh my goodness. That's going to be diabolical. The visuals of that presser, you guys, is going to be absolutely diabolical, you guys. What? I can't believe that. I was so glad that Bud called that for what it is. Did you guys see that clip? Did you see that interview? Crazy work. The King Uncommon says rumors of Jake Paul, Tankamaniacs, was violently denying the rumors. It got announced Tankamaniacs was twerking at the stoplight. Not all over the internet. Damn. That's wild work, King Uncommon. Diabolical work. The intelligent one, salute to you, King. He says, time waits for sure for no one. That's just how fast time came for this fight. Time definitely waits for no man, King Intelligent. Okay? That's an absolute fact. Oh, you think so, King Grayson? He says Terrence Crawford about to shock the world. Yes, a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way. I'm definitely rooting for the brother. You understand? I'm definitely rooting for his victory. That's for sure. That's for sure. I'm about to get into this as well, King. Patiently waiting for the return of EJ. I'm about to get into that a little bit, actually, in the next segment that I wanted to hit on. My twin says, yeah, the extra muscle can add power and speed. It can also decrease stamina. Exactly. I don't think people are really, wanting to deal with that aspect as well. I get all the spectacle and all of the excitement, I should say, generated around how he looks. Like I said, he looks absolutely beautiful. You guys can see on your thumbnail, right? That's the recent picture of Bud that I was talking about. That is on your thumbnail. That had people up in a frenzy. And he looks beautiful, as he always does, But, we got to consider the ramifications of this added weight, of him jumping up the extra divisions, and of him fighting, the elite, the king of that division, Very interesting stuff at hand. I can't deny that it makes me interested, especially now that we are in fight week. We are only days away from this fight. It's going to be interesting. Oh my goodness, the King here for boxing. I did not see you come in, King. Salute to the King here for boxing. He says, the one who was accusing him of being a juice monster is suddenly rooting for Bud to win. Are you serious? That's interesting. I never go or venture into those channels. I kind of hear about them, uh, uh, you know, because I'm in earshot, I guess, of the people who do circulate on those channels, or perhaps I see somebody, make a post about it or whatever have you. But I do not physically go or venture into the territory of those channels. My patience is very, very limited when it comes to imbecility. So I don't even attempt it because I ain't gonna put myself through that mentally. But I do get the reverberation of whatever trickles down from the people who do go there that I follow, or that who happen to tell me or whatever have you. Interesting stuff. So now all that shit he was popping, now he's rooting for the brother. Child. These people are fickle, sassy ass, tabloid, soul popper ass man fans. That's what the fuck they are. Just sassy as it goddamn gets. Fickle and sassy as hell. It's wild to me. Yes, King Stephen, exactly. Where in the world are Canelo's Vada drug test results? Exactly. That's the same thing I was asking. Okay. My twin says Canelo is juiced. Whenever he starts juicing, Canelo's lip herpes tend to flare up. Did you see a flare up, gang? Because you are absolutely right. That motherfucking that bump, you know what I'm saying? That should be red and it'd be puffy and disgusting. Disgusting work. Do they have a final presser this week or a final face off this week? We gonna see for sure if that fucking lip herpes came back, son. We definitely gonna see if his lips is motherfucking bubbling out here. That be disgusting as hell. I hate that man's mouth. Oh my God, it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But it definitely flares up when he is on that stuff. So we will see for sure. Oh, really? Here for boxing? Uncle Phil said he didn't say anything wrong, but he hasn't went back to those types of comments in a month. Yeah, I'm sure, because Bud put that foot up in that ass. Bud put that foot all the way up Uncle Phil's ass, as my beautiful king Champside calls him. You know what I mean? Absolutely. The King Uncommon says the concept of Jake mollywhopping Tank is just hilarious to me. I don't know why, but it's hella funny. Ain't it crazy? He gonna mollywhop the fuck out of Purple Pain, King Uncommon. All right, and he signed up for that. He absolutely signed up for that. Instead of getting up in there with Shakur Stevenson and the Elite Warriors, in and around his division, he's fighting a goddamn heavyweight. He wants to get mollywhopped by a white man. I just think he has a preference for white men. That just may be the case. That's all I can chop it up to, really. It's crazy work. He just wants some vanilla, I guess, real quick. Yes, Sister Cam. Yes, indeed. Exactly. My sentiments, exactly. The great Mike says, I heard it's EJ versus the Fundora and Thurman winner. Yes, I heard that as well. I don't believe that because EJ has zero interest in Thurman. Man down over here, regardless. You already know it's man down. Okay, great Mike. You already know how we step in. All right, man down, and only that. Only that. You know how we step in, King. So yeah, I guess I'll touch into that now. It's right on cue with how I wanted to segue into EJ. But before we get into that, I really have a serious query for a particular sect of the boxing world that we call Bud fans, Budrick fans, the Budrick Patrol, the Buddies. I got a real question for the Buddies. And it's I really like to ask this really, like on a real visceral, you know what I'm saying, level, so that we can maybe get to the bottom of things. Are y'all good? Are y'all good? Like I really need to know. Are y'all good? I'm not talking about to the Bud fans, you know what I'm saying, the real ones, the supporters of this man, the ones that rock with him clear-eyed and upfront and upright. Not y'all. I'm talking about the Buddies, the Bud Patrol, the sassy fanatics. Are y'all good? I need to check in with y'all real quick. Okay? Because I really need to know, how is it that every time EJ makes an appearance in a headline, or he's seen in a photo, or there is, some footage of him released, or anything having to do with this man, how is it that every time any sighting of him or reference to him is made, all of the Bud fans rush in with all types of sassy ass, weird ass assertions? How is that the case, you guys? I know my good family has been, been made privy to this as well, because you guys see it as well. Why did the sassy Bud fans get all up in the panties in a bunch? All of their Victoria's Secret thongs just get all, extra up that ass whenever EJ is mentioned. Okay? They cute little panties. What is going on? I need to know. Why do they get crazy? It's so weird to me. It's very peculiar to me, you guys. And this is particularly whenever it is concerning news. You know what I'm saying? Any type of news generated about specifically, let's say concerning or alluding to the return of Earl Spence to the ring. Oh, hunty boo boo, baby girl. They get all types of sassy as soon as they hear that. Oh, excuse me, you said EJ may be returning. Oh, we can't have that. They just, their mind just explodes. And like I said, I'm not talking about to the real, I'm saying Bud fans, the real, I'm saying the real brothers and sisters who rock with Bud because, I'm saying they stand with him. You know what I mean? I like y'all. I don't have no problem with y'all because you guys have sense and you guys have clarity about yourself. These fucking Bud fanatics just get all types of crazy whenever EJ is mentioned, and especially when there is news or headlines made of his possible return. Why do y'all get crazy like this over EJ? I need to know about this. The Bud fanatics get distressed, you guys. I mean, distressed. They get all types of perturbed out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. They start twisting. They start malfunctioning. What's up with y'all? Are you okay? Are you okay? Last week, case in point, some new footage came up about EJ once again, right? So that we initially had some stuff. I think I spoke about this in a previous live of mine a couple of weeks back that had showed some image, a quick little image of EJ sparring and stuff like that. Well, here we go again. There was a little bit more extensive footage placed out of some more sparring of EJ, right? And it showed him like throwing punches and stuff like that, and EJ looking like EJ in sparring. And some people went crazy over this, and I just need to know why. I really just need to know why. Why would it make these Bud fanatics go crazy? All it was doing was evincing that this man is in preparation for whatever he's in preparation for. We do not know or have confirmation about this man's official return. He said nothing of it, but we cannot deny that this man is back sparring. And so that's great news to us man down fans. You know what I'm saying? Because we rocks with the King EJ all day. The truth. All day. Period. So that, of course, we're going to be like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Yes, EJ, because we've been calling, waiting for this man's, return. And of course, most of all, we have been hoping that he has been well and recovering. Right? So that, we're all anxious to see that. But these Bud fans be getting mad, y'all, out here. They be getting all hissy fits and tantrums. You should see it across social media. It is so weird to me. All this man was doing was sparring. He's looking on his feet. He looked good. You know what I'm saying? He looked like it's nice to see him, in action. Whether it was for his own private, whatever, or if it's maybe alluding to a return, whatever the case is, us EJ fans are just happy to see that he is up and active, right? Like I said in the previous live, he is absolutely looking in shape. He is looking like he can fight, pretty soon, if not now, right? He's in that tip-top type of shape, like fight shape, So it gives us hope from the outside looking in. But with that being said, this is enough to send the Budrick Patrol on an emotional goddamn roller coaster all up and down social media, y'all. What is wrong with these people? They done hauled ass. As soon as they saw that footage, or anytime they see releasing news about this man, they haul ass to their goddamn phones. They haul ass to their computers with their pinkies up and start typing away, baby. Oh, leaving types of crazy ass comments, throwing all types of crazy ass shade. What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all? Why are these niggas so sassy about EJ? I really need to know. If I, I want to get to the bottom of it if I can. I don't think it's possible for me to, because all they will do is evade and elude, the reasons as to why, the logic has them so up in a frenzy whenever it's involving EJ. Mind you, these are the very people who, many of them at least, these are the very people who love to gasconade and boast and brag and have been boasting and bragging over the past 2 years about how Bud defeated EJ. This is the same group of people who just are living off that goddamn victory to this goddamn, just eating and munching off that goddamn victory. Just can't wait to find an EJ fan who is excited about EJ or talking about EJ to whatever capacity. These are the people that are in the shadows lurking on the sidelines who can't wait to say something, disparaging about EJ. Oh, he don't look good. Oh, well, he got his ass beat. That's why your boy got his ass beat. Y'all seen it. We see it all up and down Beautiful King BFTB's page. We see it across Beautiful King Champside's page. Right? And of course, whatever social media platforms that you may follow and subscribe to and stuff like that. We've seen it. People just in the woodworks. These sassy ass butt fans just in the woodworks. Can't wait for any time EJ is brought up and they say, Bud beat the fuck out of him. It's crazy work, right? So that, these same people are the ones that have been boasting and bragging about him being defeated by Bud. But at the same time, these are also the same people and the very people that can't keep from shaking in their goddamn boots at the thought of a healthy, focused, and recentered EJ returning to the ring. They can't deal with the thought of it. It does not have to be confirmed that this man is coming back to the ring. It does not have to be a fight on the horizon in the next week. Doesn't matter. The mere idea that EJ is healthy, training again, and inching towards the possibility of a return is enough to set these people on fire. Like they're just absolutely on fire, mad, salty, all of that. It's the craziest thing, and one of the craziest phenomena in boxing is this particular sect of EJ hate and the Bud fans that harbor this hate for EJ. It's weird. Just the simple idea that this man is getting himself together, that this man isn't, in the dark, closing the curtains and hiding in a goddamn closet. They don't like the idea that this man, has been on vacation, loving up on his babies, loving up on his wife, and now he is training and looking in fight shape. Oh, hold up. And there's footage of him sparring. The heads exploded. The heads exploded of these people. They can't take that. It's weird. It's absolutely, it's funny to me as well. It's like, well, if your man defeated him so easily, you know what I mean? Why are you scared? Why does that make you shake in your boots like this? Why are you so wrapped up in what he is doing or not doing? Why are you concerned about a return to the ring or otherwise? You don't care about him, right? He was defeated according to you badly. Why would you be concerned about if he's coming to the ring? What does his return have to do with you? I posit that a lot of these people fear that if EJ does return to the ring and he does show up in phenomenal fashion, phenomenal shape and health and recovered and all of that stuff like that, I think that a lot of these people with that type of mindset fear that EJ will begin stalking Crawford. Let's say Crawford does not retire after he fights Canelo, like a lot of people have been positing that is a possibility. Let's say he doesn't retire and stuff like that. And let's say, I don't know, there's a possibility that he returns to 54, even though I don't know how realistic that is. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, right? I think that the mere idea of EJ's presence being officially returned to the ring. I think that scares that group of Bud fans because they don't like the idea that he will be on the hunt for EJ, that he will begin claiming turf again, going on the prowl again, and devouring his prey at 54, because that's a division that we expect him to make his return at, of course, right? If he does return, let's say he starts devouring the prey there, and Bud is still active. I think people fear EJ calling that man out for that rematch that Bud ducked. You understand? I don't think that that sect of Bud fans who are frail, mentally frail, they don't like the idea of competition. They do not want Bud to be challenged. And so even if EJ cannot win the rematch, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen in the rematch, right? But the mere idea that Bud stands to be challenged poses a threat to those people. I think that's what EJ subconsciously does to those people, the mentality of those people. They don't like, that's why they have to say over and over again, well, he beat EJ, he beat EJ. EJ can't come back. He's finished. He's done. He was stomped to the ground. There's no returning from him. He has no hope of coming back. No glory as a fighter. He might as well just stay home. Don't even think about coming to the ring. You're ruined. EJ's ruined. They have to tell themselves that repeatedly, because if this man comes back and defies the odds, as we've seen him do time and time again, whether it's via a car crash or alcoholism or whatever it was that he was dealing with at that time, whatever he bounced back from, he came back from in spectacular fashion. We have a history of that with EJ. So I will not be surprised if from another detrimental incident in his life that he faced against the fight against Bud Crawford, I would not be surprised if this too, he comes back from superior. You understand what I'm saying? I think that group of sassy ass Bud fans don't like that, because they are dealing with a man who has defied every odd put in front of him, every tragedy put in front of him. He came back better. He came back ready and more focused and dedicated. I don't think they want to see the tenacity applied to Crawford by Earl Spence Jr. There's a fear there. They'll let him go fight Canelo because they have confidence that he could beat Canelo, whether he can or not in reality. Of course, that stands to be seen on Saturday. But they do not fear Canelo. Canelo is not a threat to Bud, even though he is 2-3 divisions above him or whatever have you. He is not visually viewed as a threat to Bud Crawford. Earl Spence Jr. is seen and viewed as a threat to Bud Crawford, even though he fucking demolished EJ. Okay? Whether we want to consider whatever the factors were at hand with EJ or not, we all know those types of things that may have been or have been rumored to be at play with EJ at the time. No excuse. Bud went in there and he did the goddamn thing. He did it beautifully and in spectacular fashion, right? But even still, even as exemplary as that performance was from Bud, there's still a subconscious that is holding and harboring a fear of EJ. These people fear EJ. I really do believe this. They fear EJ and view EJ as more of a threat than Canelo. That is why they need to tell themselves that EJ is finished, because should he come back, should he look good, should he be successful in his first fight back, should he start going on the prowl and getting the taste of for blood again, it's on site. They know it's on site. They know it's on site. I've said this all, over the past 2 years since that fight commenced. It's on site. They know who EJ is. They know that he's on smoke time all the time. He don't got to say much. EJ is not a man of many words. He don't have to be. But you know what the fuck time it is when he steps in the building. You know it. You understand? Me, personally, I like it. I am galvanized around the idea because I like Bud Crawford. I like the fact that, he's gotten his accreditation. I like the fact that he is now attempting, to fight Canelo. And I want him to stay around. That's why I don't want him to retire after Canelo, because I want to see him get the fucking smoke at 54. Like I said, that's where he should be fighting to me. I don't want to see no goddamn retirement from no goddamn Bud Crawford after he fights Canelo. I don't even want to see a rematch. Have you guys seen Turkey, proposition the idea of the rematch. Well, what's next after this fight? Oh, a rematch. So who the hell knows? I don't want to see no goddamn rematch with Canelo. I didn't fucking ask for this fucking first one, but it's happening, and I'm supporting the King Bud. What I want to see is him in there getting the smoke with his competition at 54. So if there's a possibility for that, and of course if EJ is in the building, oh hell yeah, that's the fight that I've been wanting to see. That should have been his goddamn next fucking fight, not Madrimov. His fight at 54 should have been the rematch with EJ or Charlo. That's what I want to see. You know what I mean? So that doesn't scare me. You know, I want to see them go head to head at it. If it's a possibility for that to happen, absolutely. Why are people afraid of that? You guys remember they were afraid of that 2 years ago. People was trying to talk down a rematch happening. Oh no, you know, it's not worth it. He beat him so badly. He don't have to rematch EJ. Y'all remember? You know, the fight barely was, a month or two removed, and people were already trying to talk down the rematch from happening. Meanwhile, the real boxing fans was like, yo, run it back. Run it back. All right, he got to get healed up. He got to recover, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Wait the time out and get it popping. Where's the rematch at? There was certainly a goddamn rematch clause. That was bypassed due to politicking and nonsense and bullshitting. You know what I mean? And they were absolutely inculcating into the boxing public that the fight wasn't worth anything, even though the rematch stood to be even bigger than a fucking first one. Crazy work to me. You know, that doesn't get me afraid. I want to see that. And if you are a supporter of Bud Crawford, why wouldn't you want to see that? Especially if you consider EJ to be a threat. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you want to see him do it again? I want to see if he could do it again. You know what I mean? And I also want to see if EJ, a healthy EJ, a sturdy, steadfast, centered EJ, fully recovered EJ, can go in there and devour his food. I want to see if that's a possibility as well, because I'm a fight fan and I like warriorship. So I think it's funny to me how, fragile the mentality is of those sassy ass, Bud fans. They just want to say anything to just try to, throw EJ away from the conversation and from the table as a whole. Oh, why his dreads look like that? Oh, did you see him sparring? Why he look like that? He looks slow. He can't come back. He's still shaking from that accident. He ain't gonna come back from that accident. Oh, he's done. He's a shell of himself. It's just all types of weird ass shit, soft ass, delicate ass statements being made by that particular group of people. I just find to be so funny. Who are these dudes online? Who are these people online? The projection that these people do onto other people should be studied. Good family. Because the way they project is wild work. They don't want EJ to spar. They don't want the goddamn man to train. They don't want the goddamn man, plotting a return. They don't want him being determined. They don't want EJ doing shit. They want EJ, locked up in his goddamn attic somewhere eating bonbons and sitting in a rocking chair. No, that's not what's happening. The man is back sparring. He's doing what he got to do. That's it. That's because these sassy ass niggas, like I said, they fret and dread the day that EJ steps into that ring claiming turf. They don't want the idea in their minds that EJ can come back and claim turf and do it well and do it better than previously done, because that's a possibility. Like I said, we've seen him overcome defeat, not only overcome defeat, but overcome it in spectacular fashion. They don't want the possibility of that arising as far as EJ is concerned. I've seen people so thirsty for, I have never seen a bigger level of thirst for somebody's repose than I've seen postured at EJ. They need to see him reposed. They don't want to see him active in any way possible at all. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Additionally, did you guys see this post that happened earlier in the week on Twitter? I came across a post where EJ responded to somebody on Twitter, right? So the person showed an image of the aftermath of that car crash. Once again, here are people, living off the idea of that car crash and stuff like that, and the trauma of it, and just the I guess entertainment value of it. People are really caught up on the car crash thing, right? And so somebody posted a photo of that and put the caption on it. It said, "The car crash that would change a boxer's life forever. That was the caption on that photo of the vehicle that EJ was driving and that got all, basically totaled and completely destroyed. Right. So they put the caption, the car crash that would change a boxer's life forever. Right. So that, it had a very moribund, grim, type of dreary energy to it. Like, oh my God, this is the car crash that changed, a boxer's life forever, y'all. And EJ saw this and he responded to that post and he said, "I'm not dead." That's all he said. He said, "I'm not dead." Right? That shit had me kind of giggle a little bit when I saw that post from EJ. Like, I felt him on that though. It's like shit. Like, yes, it was a crazy incident. Yes, it's crazy as hell. Seeing the aftermath of that car crash and stuff like that. But nigga, I'm alive, nigga. Like, like what? I survived this, sir. You know what I mean? EJ is like, sir, I survived this. I survived this goddamn crash. Would you be that changed the boxer's life forever? What? I'm alive. I'm here. I'm well. I'm thriving. You understand? What is with this grim, moribund energy that's going on? EJ, I could only imagine what he was thinking. I survived this car crash, you guys. Did you fucking forget? I physically survived this crash. I mentally survived this crash. And most of all, I spiritually survived this. I got to go home to my kids, kiss my wife, kiss my babies, kiss my mother, kiss my daddy, kiss the people around me, and give thanks to God. That's what I got to do. So, I get, the reminiscing or the run, I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know what you would want to call it. Is it a sense of nostalgia going on here? Why are you being nostalgic about that? That happened, yes. Was it a crazy situation? Absolutely. But I am here. I am here and I am with a world of experience because of that and in the aftermath of that. You know what I'm saying? It was weird. He went on to do beautiful things after that car crash. So that, the nostalgia that people get over this car crash and how they try to apply it to this man to this day is wild. It's almost as if they need to capsize him in the image and in the past of that car crash in order to subside his potential for growth, his potential for coming back and expanding beyond, levels that he previously attained before, right? It's like they need to put you in here so that you can fit in there. Because if you grow beyond that, then there won't be an excuse for them to deal with. And I can't say that fan, whoever that was, meant any ill will. Perhaps he was just, reminiscing about that car crash or why you would want to post something so devastating. I don't know, right? But but the logic of it is still strange to me, and I know that EJ felt the same for the reason why he said, I'm not dead. You know what I'm saying? I'm very much alive and full of potential and I'm still me and, and I'm growing and I'm here. This shit was wild to me, y'all. Did y'all see that? I was like, facts, EJ. I ain't fucking dead. The fuck? It was wild work. The great Mike says 100 SugarFree. Did you guys see that doing oh, salute to the King Snacks. He says EJ or Charlo. Yeah, absolutely. Those are fights I definitely want to see. Definitely want to see. Uh-oh. Here we go, you guys. Here goes somebody exemplifying the mentality. This is no shade to you, Al Rogan. But let's read what you said and let's dissect this. This is what Al Rogan says. Salute to you and thank you for joining, by the way. Al Rogan says, EJ was a good champion. Do you hear this? EJ was a good champion. Past tense. EJ was a good champion. Dominated the weight class. Ducked nobody. Right? Just stay away from Bud. He got EJ figured out. Do you guys see this? I feel somewhat what you say. I see what you're saying. But if that's not the most frail, if that's not the, I just find that to be the most delicate ass perspective that I could think of. at this particular moment, Al Rogan. Okay. What the hell do you mean? Just stay away from Bud. He got EJ figured out. Al Rogan, I don't know if you know who I am. I don't believe I've ever seen you in my chat, but I don't protect my fighters from a motherfucking thing. Do you understand me? I am here for warriorship. As my beautiful king BFTB would say, I am here for the best fighting the best. Okay? I don't give a damn if he got EJ's card, if he got his motherfucking social security number, if he got his motherfucking favorite color, what type of pasta he likes, what he had for dinner last weekend, what his birthday is, how he like his coffee. I don't give a damn. Do it again. Do it again. If EJ is up for it, do it again. That's how I'm stepping, Al Rogan. I'm not trying to spare you. I don't give a fuck what Bud Crawford think he got figured out. Do it again. And you're gonna have to keep doing it. So long as EJ is about that, so long as EJ shows a level of heart that he is willing to get in there with that man, he's gonna have to repeatedly figure him the fuck out. He's gonna have to always do it. Every time you see me, you better figure me the fuck out. That's me. That's the type of fight fan I am. You will have to do that because you will not live so long as I got the will to fight. That's me. I don't know where you coming from or what type of boxing school you from. You better figure me the fuck out every time. Every time. You don't get no fucking vacation with me. You better figure me the fuck out. You better be dreaming about how you gonna figure me out. That's me. Okay? Yes, indeed. So, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? I like the fact that you're engaging with the danger factor that Bud presents because you believe in Bud's ability. I believe in Bud's ability as well. You know what I mean? But if the fight possibility is on the table, figure me out. Don't duck it. Figure me out. I want you to figure me out. That's my perspective. You know what I mean? EJ wanted to be figured out. That's why he took the fight. That's why he pushed for that fight. You got to see Bud do what he got to do because EJ wanted to make that fight happen. EJ wanted to see if he could be figured out. Right? So that if there is a wherewithal within EJ still, and he does make a return to the ring, and there's a possibility that that fight could be ran back, run it back. I'm not saying to stay away from nothing. What do you mean stay away from Bud? You better run towards that man. And Bud better run towards him. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's how I approach my boxing, Al Rogan. And salute to you for the comment. I appreciate you. Look at Mr. Rogan. You know what I mean? You better stay away from Bud now. You hear? Stay away from what? Excuse me? I run to the center of the battlefield. I don't run from nothing. Fuck you talking about? If I'm here and I'm an active fighter, you an active fighter, let's get this cracking. We got work to finish. There should have been a rematch to begin with. EJ was pushing for that rematch to happen before he even exited the ring. His face was all busted and bruised, and he was still calling for the smoke. He wanted the rematch before he even got out the ring. Let's run it back. Figure me the fuck out. You better do that and then some. How about that? He should have figured his ass the fuck out 2 years ago. Real talk. You know what I mean? Let's figure this the fuck out. They're running from getting figured out. Figure me the fuck out. Figure me all the way out as best you can. Because you're gonna have to do it whenever I'm in the building. That's just the heart that I'm on. The King here for Boxing says, I'm a sugar-free supporter on the channel, the super chats, and I'm a Bud fan. I'm always here. Yes, here for Boxing. You are a Bud fan. You're a real one. You know what I'm saying? And I could say I'm a Bud fan as well, even though I don't support him as readily as I do EJ, because I don't necessarily support all of Bud's moves. I don't necessarily like all of his moves that he makes, but I have to salute the warriorship. I have to salute the kingship. He is an absolute king to me. He is a beautiful king in boxing, and he will have my support as long as he remains upright on his path. You know what I'm saying? Which he is doing. So I could only support and respect this brother. He's a beautiful brother. You know what I mean? And salute to all real Bud fans. Like I said, I am among you. I show mine differently, but I'm definitely a supporter of the brother Bud Crawford for sure. Oh my goodness, my beautiful mama love. Hey, mama love. My beautiful mama love, Jaquila Fields, the queen, is in the building. She says, educate him, Sugar Free. You already know what time we're on. I wanted to see. Al says, LOL, Sugar. EJ can't take that kind of punishment. Not healthy. Listen, let's get him in there to do it. Why my thing is what's so interesting to me, which is why I spoke about what it is, and you came right on time, Al Rogan, is that mindset of why not let that man get in there and do what he do. What you mean it's not healthy? Y'all don't give a fuck about his health. Stop trying to use the cloak and the guise of this man's health. If he wasn't healthy, we could expect him to not ever enter that ring again. And if that's the case, and if we ever hear news that, based on his health, then we could surmise that it's because of that. But if that man enters the ring, he is going to be plenty healthy, plenty able and capable, and ready to do what the fuck he got to do. Let him go in there and hunt. What is this babying of fighters? I just don't get that. Why do y'all want to baby y'all fighters? You know what I'm saying? So the level of babying happens. I'm not saying this is you, Al Rogan, because I don't know you. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen you before, but I find it very strange how a lot of the mentality within boxing has a very, coddling, cossetting energy to it. There's a cossetting thing. Oh, they don't want certain fighters to fight competition, as a level of 1 degree of the cossetting. And then there's the level that shows, oh, don't fight them. You're going to get hurt. Don't do that. It's going to be difficult for you to overcome now, you hear? Are these fucking men fighters or not? Are they warriors or not? I am not here to paint your fucking toenails. I am here to go to war with you. I'm here to spill blood. That's what I do. I'm going to take your head. That's what I'm here to do. Why the fuck would I prevent that? I want to see the best fighting the best. I want to see elite warriorship against elite warriorship. If that is on the table, let them fight. Let them hunt. That's what they do. I don't project a frail mentality onto these men. This is what these men are here to do. And if you're trying to claim greatness for yourself, you better have that goddamn mentality. That's it. Talk about that man's health. We're not his goddamn physician. He's going to get in there healthy if he's back in the ring, just like Bud will be in the ring healthy, hopefully, if they meet again. He would have learned his lesson from the first fight, hopefully, on the part of EJ. And especially if he's at 54 at a weight that he's comfortable, he's going to be more susceptible to that level of health that you are so concerned about. Let him get in there healthy and do his thing. Because if he certainly wasn't healthy in the first fight, why shouldn't he show improve in a healthier state? And if he fucking loses, he loses. I don't give a damn. I want to see the best fight the best. If Bud beats his ass again, so be it. So be it. He would only prove further his legacy. That's it. And salute to him if he's able to do that. And salute to EJ if he is able to do otherwise and prove otherwise. I just want to see the warriorship. I want to see beautiful black warriorship on display. I don't hold these men's hands. I support them in their greatness. And I think it's a great fight to happen and still materialize if it's possible. Because I support the warriorship of both brothers. You know what I mean? That's just the mindset that I have. I don't really entertain anything else. Lastly, beautiful people, I just want to wrap this up with this. Speaking about warriorship, yes, King Grayson. Yes, King Grayson says, I would love to see the rematch, just to see the fight. I was hoping to see it. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's something that I wanted. Before those men even exited the ring, I was so on my toes for the rematch. I was like, oh my God, EJ wants it at 54. You know what I'm saying? Is Bud going to the Blage? Bud started low-key acting like some diva. Like, oh no, I want it to be at 47. We got to have it. He didn't even want it at 54 because he knew that EJ would remain and continue to be weight trained at 47. He didn't even want it at 54, only to haul his ass up in it and fight somebody at 54 with 9 fucking fights. Excuse me? But was fucking crying about facing EJ at 54. These are the types of things I don't rock with Bud, even though I like him. I don't like that. So, I would love to see that fight. If it is possible, I want to see that fight. I'm not stopping that goddamn fight from happening. Go get it. Go get it. If you could dethrone him and behead him again, take his fucking head. If EJ the Shark could bite his fucking head off, I want to see him defeat Bud as well. Either way, I just want to see them go, those two beautiful warriors getting there and do the damn thing. Why the fuck not? That's what we here for. You guys want to see these motherfuckers have tea with each other with their fucking pinkies up. I don't play with that. I just don't play with that. And that's no shade to Al Rogan. I know I come off heavy, Al. That's not to you directly. I'm talking about the mindset. You know what I'm saying? But I understand, a lot of people have been holding that view. Bud wanted undisputed at 147 legacy. Oh, really? He got undisputed 47 legacy. EJ wanted the fight at 54. He said, nah, he did all that goddamn crying only to go up and fight an absolute nobody with 9 professional fights in Madrimov, but was refusing to face EJ at 54. Chill, son. Chill, son. Let me get into this, you guys. Oh, my goodness. I have a super chat from my twin. Salute to the twin. Thank you so much for the love and support. As usual, twin. He says, just some color in the chat for another good Sunday cooking. Always great work, twin. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, twin. Let me get into this before we wrap up, because I was, trying to, make this short, but we had a lot to divulge, you guys. But I definitely want to give a friendly reminder. Speaking of, greatness and warriorship, you guys, right? And photos and footage and all this stuff being leaked. I have seen some recent images of the young King Devin Haney. One of them is the photo in the center of the thumbnail that you guys see there, that the young King Devin posted earlier today, I believe, right? I just wanted to give a friendly reminder to the good family up in here, right? That the young King Devin versus the young lion, Brian Norman, is nearing closer and closer, you guys. I am so happy about this. This fight is nearing. We are officially in September, right? So that means we are about 2.5 months away from November 22nd. Just a friendly reminder. Just wanted to sprinkle that on top of there. I think I'm going to give friendly reminders of this fight every time we talk, because, we are inching closer and closer. And this is the fight for me that is everything. Okay. This is my fight of the year. The young King Devin is looking absolutely beautiful, you guys. Absolutely beautiful. In hella shape, looking wonderful, looking healthy. And, I'm excited for this fight. It is, this fight alone that I am putting all of my energy into. Okay. All of my energy into. Devin Haney, as you guys know, is my champion. He is my champion, right? As I'm sure he is for many of the good brothers and sisters in here today. We hold Devin very, very closely to us, the young king, beautiful fighter, and we want to see him excel. We want to see him conquer new territory. Speaking about Bud, in a new division, right? So is Devin Haney entering a new division officially, going to weigh in at the 147 mark, right? Even though he has been inching his way in the welterweight division. I can't wait to see him attack his new level of championship when he takes the strap from Norman Jr. That's what I anticipate, right? Even though I am in definite support of the warriorship of both of these beautiful young brothers. Just so young, right? Young brothers out here putting that work in. It's wonderful to see, and I'm so happy to attach myself and to support this fight. It's a fight that the sport needs. It's the future of the sport. It's the bloodline of the sport. This is the new generation, you guys. The young King Devin and Brian Norman, excuse me? These men are barely 25, 26 years old. You understand? So that, we really got to support the up and coming warriors, who are going to hold that mantle. It's very important that we put our support behind them. It's a wonderful fight that I am awaiting with all the fervor and gusto that I have. 2.5 months away, like I said. And as I say time and time again, this is definitely my fight of the year. The young King Devin is locked in. Okay. And you know what? I love that he doesn't get too lost in social media. So while everybody else is like going in a frenzy and talking all this madness and stuff like that, Young King, he really doesn't, bother too much or too often on the social media landscape. Not comparative to that of how other people tend to do, how other fighters kind of spin that wheel. Devin is not really on that type of time. Now, once in a while, he will come up for some air, right? He will check the scene, scope the scene real quick, but then he is back into the lab at work, right? I definitely love that focus that Devin Haney has. So it's cool to watch. Uh, but you will also get those moments of savagery from Devin Haney. Now, speaking of which, have you guys seen Brian Norman Sr. Making his rounds and all that on social media as he tends to do, right? Just going around talking and bopping from channel to channel, stuff like that. Well, Bill Haney, I think he said that he didn't want to talk about, the Haneys at all for whatever reason in the last couple of weeks. But suddenly, now he's out here talking about, Bill Haney and stuff like that. Bill and Devin are absolutely living rent free in that man's mind. So on Twitter, somebody happened to write some days ago on Twitter. They wrote the following. They said, quote, Brian Norman Sr. is too emotional. Remember, I said that. End quote. That's what this person had written on Twitter. And Devin saw this and he responded to that. This is what Devin said. He said, quote, that's why he was 18 and 11 as a boxer. Nigga was a bum. He been knocked out 6 times. End quote. So that's Devin, right? Coming up for savagery. Like I said, he don't say much, but when he come up, he got the venom on him sometimes, right? So Devin is an absolute savage. And Norman Sr., of course, replied to this tweet of Devin and the person that went back and forth. And he started to insinuate a fight between he and Bill, right? So Senior tweeted Devin back to that reply. Senior says, quote, so that means your pops can beat me, right? So that's Senior. That's what he said. And the young King Devin writes, my pops is beating you in life, right? Oh my God. That was a diabolical flex, you guys. I'm like, listen, Devin, he don't really, start rolling around all over social media and stuff like that. That's not the type of time that he's on. But when he does step on the scene, you best believe he is going to be precise, okay, and he is going to be very, very, very venomous and staunch on what it is that he says, whatever it is that he says. He's quick with it, but he's a sharpshooter with it as well. So that was funny, that little back and forth that happened. I thought it was pretty interesting. Very soft-spoken brother, but he is absolutely a menace when he needs to be, which I love. So we already see that the war talk is definitely starting to re-engage, between the two men, right? We had a little bit of a cool-off period as far as Devin was concerned. He kind of wasn't on social media really very much like that, except for little pockets here and there. And he wasn't really alluding to anything on the side or on the part of the Normans. But now we see them actually exchanging some war words, right? Because real talk, it's just been Brian Norman just going all over the goddamn place talking. And then for a moment, we saw goddamn Brian Norman having an interview every goddamn 5 minutes, right? But Brian Norman seems to be locked in on his training and stuff like that. But since then, we have seen Norman kind of just bouncing around, channel hopping and stuff like that, talking and shit and stuff like that. So it's nice to see the war talk going on between them, the little back and forth. I think Bill Haney posted a video in response to that as well, so that we see the engagement and some motion happening in the camps and between the camps. So interesting stuff. I like the war talk. Go ahead and talk your shit, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Build this fucking fight up, right? Because we came from a very, very high peak with the fucking Cornholio situation where Tank, Devin's bodyguard, done yoked the daddy and the son up at the same goddamn time. That put the boxing world in a frenzy. And then they had the press conference so that, it was a very heightened energy. So I want to see, that entering the scene. And I think that once we get beyond this Bud Canelo fight, all eyes will be, put towards the Norman and Devin Haney saga that is underway, right? So I can't wait to see what else is going to be popping off between the Devin Haney camp and the Norman camp. It's definitely going to be interesting. I anticipate some fireworks. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. My countdown has officially started, I must say, right? So that I can't wait to get over this damn Crawford Canelo fight. I really can't. I'm more concerned about the aftermath of Bud Crawford and Canelo than I am the fight. I'm interested in the fight. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But it's the aftermath of the fight that I'm more interested in, right? So that I can get closer to what is my fight of the year, which is of course the young king, Black Jesus Devin Haney, versus the young lion, Brian Norman. So yeah, interesting stuff. Did you guys see that bit of banter on Twitter? Definitely interesting. I wanted to speak about that a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to be giving my little reminders. This is a young King Devin reminder, you guys. We are inching closer, right? As the days pass, we are inching closer and closer towards that fight on November 22nd. I cannot wait. My twin says, Bill and Devin Haney already said that they're in the lab working. That's why they went quiet. They take it as a weakness. Yeah, what I'm saying? They're in the dungeon. They are in the dungeon getting that work in, putting that work in. You understand me? I love that. The focus is definitely there. You know what I mean? And, I anticipate some intense energy come November 22nd. Okay. But Brian Norman Sr., he's just he just go on and he talk his talk and he do what he got to do. And I give him this. He's definitely a good villain, right? He's definitely a good villain as far as, the position he is taking in the fight. And like I said, now that we are drawing closer and closer into the fight, hopefully it is centered on the war talk. I don't like the chatty patty. You know what I mean? I like the war talk. War talk is what I want to hear all day, every day. You know what I mean? So I don't mind them engaging in that. It's just the chatty patty shit that he was on that I didn't really like. But, like I said, now that we're getting closer and closer, I anticipate seeing, the energy being intensified. I look forward to seeing what is next up between both camps. You know what I'm saying? Interesting stuff. The King Grayson, he done put his black fist up in the air. He said, too black, too strong, and we can't go wrong. You already know what time it is, King Grayson. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice, okay? That's how I like to be spoken to. All right? Love my people, love my culture all day. Facts, Queen. My beautiful sister Cammie, DHP all day, every day. The King Snack says, Norman Sr. sure seems to love all this attention, doesn't he? Yes, he does. Every bit of it. He is so content with it. Loves it. And I like it for him so long as it's in the vein of, promoting the fight, and believing in, the abilities and prowess of his son, right? I'm all for it. Like I said, the only part I didn't, and the only aspect that I did not like was the chatty patty that had been happening. That was a bit too much for me. But, when he's centered on the war talk and when he's focused on, I'm saying Devin and saying, listen, we the best, we going to prove it to you. They on that type of time. Oh yeah, I want to hear all of that. Like I said, talk to me nice. I like that. Just stay off the chatty patty shit and we good. Facts, King Stephen. Devin over everybody. You understand me? And you already know what time the King Snoop is on. All right? He makes no bones about it. He makes no bones about it. The King Snoop is always 10 toes with the dream team. Okay? Yes, Daryl. Talk to me nice or not at all. BK all day. You already know. Talk to me nice. Or you ain't saying nothing to me. I think that's it for me, you guys. I think I could end there. That's pretty much the basis of what I wanted to say. Where is the line between legacy and entertainment? I think that Devin Haney and Brian Norman stand to clearly define, those lines and draw those lines in what it is they intend to create on November 22nd. Same thing with Bud Crawford, even though I wasn't, like I said, in agreement with him, taking on this particular fight with Canelo. I definitely salute, what it is that he sets out to accomplish. Like I said, I support Bud Crawford. And hopefully, this will open up some opportunities for him to engage with elite warriors, uh, all around him. I like to see him continue to engage. I'd hate to see him retire after the Canelo fight, but it all remains to be seen. But it is no doubt legacy that he is aiming to solidify. And for that reason, I am 10 toes with Bud Crawford. I cannot say the same about the idea of the exhibition fight. Certainly not about no goddamn Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson goddamn fight, or any other exhibition fight that took place, or any future one that stands to be materialized at some point. We need the death of the ex goddamn ambition. I want no part of it, right? I have no problem with being entertained. Legacy is entertaining for me. For whatever reason, some people don't find the two to work in tandem with each other, and that is the oddity to me. I find that to be an absolute aberration. I don't understand that. Why do we have to remove the entertainment factor from legacy? What is more entertaining than seeing the legacy being exemplified via the best fighting the best? I think when we get the separation of the two and trying to bypass one or holding one as supreme above the other, that's when the art and the love and the soul of boxing gets lost. And that's something that I will always fight against and speak out against, so long as I, have a platform too. You know what I'm saying? So, us, that's why it feels so good to be in good company with the good family, with people who hold these types of views and, value the sport to the capacity that I do. And we all bring our own shades and our own cognitive reasoning to the table. It's always wonderful to speak to you and divulge these aspects of our critical thinking about the sport that we love so much. That's what this is about. But I'll end there. Salute to the good people. Thank you so much for joining. Salute to my twin, Dara Anderson. Salute to my beautiful sister, Cameron Fields. The King, Stephen X in the building. Salute to the King, Freedom's March. Peace and love to the King, Patrice. Always 10 toes and wonderful to see you, King Uncommon. Thank you, Al Rogan, for joining with your varying perspectives. I appreciate a bit of a different point of view to the table. Oh my goodness, did I salute Jonathan Simon? Salute to you. He says, I want to see the best guys fighting in and around their era and weight class. That's a perfect way to end. Perfect way and a perfect segment. To highlight as we end, because of course it's working absolutely in tandem with my sentiments as well. That's what I want to see. That's what we are here for. And anything hindering that needs to go. You feel me? But I'll end there, you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a beautiful week ahead. I will talk to you guys soon. Make sure you hit that like button before you go. Okay. Subscribe to me if you haven't subscribed, and keep in touch with me throughout the week in my community page. I like to talk to you guys there throughout the week. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace and infinite blessings.